Hello, everybody, and welcome into TD Ameritrade Park in Omaha, Nebraska for WCBN Sports coverage of the 2019 Men's College World Series. And, of course, Michigan baseball. I'm Austin Falco. Alongside me is Daniel Thompson, bringing you the final game of the 2019 NCAA Men's College Baseball season. It'll be between the visiting Michigan Wolverines and the team in the home dugout, the Vanderbilt Commodores. It's the third game of the best-of-3 College World Series finals. The 2019 College World Series championship is on the line. Michigan's going with their two aces, and they had to replace a key part who went down at yesterday's ball game, Jordan Wogu, with an interesting decision to go in that 9-hole. Take it away, Daniel.
Well, first and foremost, the most important matter, Jordan Wogu, according to Eric Bakich, I don't believe this is an official clearance or anything, but he did say in the press conference he believed it was a sprained quad. It will keep him out of today's game. However, great to hear it's not going to be any kind of long-term ligament damage or anything like that. He should be good to go next winter for Michigan to start things off. He is, of course, will be a junior next year, so he really wants to have a big season, can maybe go pro following that. The Ann Arbor kid, though, I'm sure he wouldn't mind another 2 years in his hometown. But great to hear he should be good to go for the next year. That does mean there's a big question mark at the designated hitter spot. Eric Bakich talked about he might bump Akeo up to the top, might bump everyone up one spot. He does move Akeo Thomas up to the leadoff role. Everything else stays the same, and in for him right now is Isaiah Page. And yes, you heard that right. Isaiah Page is listed as the designated hitter, and I think the purpose here is just to throw Vanderbilt off, not give them any chance to do any pregame scouting or anything, give Mason Hickman the least amount of information possible. Isaiah Page, probably the one Michigan pitcher who is unavailable under no uncertain terms, going over 50 pitches in yesterday's outing, 4 1/3. And really a really good outing. I think maybe Eric Bakich's maybe few regrets from that game might be taking out Page when he did, but he will not be batting. It will likely be either Riley Bertram or the senior Miles Lewis. And that's all I can really offer you for now. We'll have to just see what Eric Bakich does, whether it's in the first, second, or third inning. We'll see who it is coming in for the Wolverines.
For the Wolverines, you mentioned they have a hole at the leadoff spot. They filled it with the senior Akeo Thomas batting leadoff in his final game in a Michigan uniform. Leading off is Akeo Thomas, second base. Batting second, the center fielder, Jesse Franklin. Right fielder, Jordan Brewer, is in the 3-hole. Batting cleanup, first baseman, Jimmy Kerr. Blake Nelson plays third base and bats fifth. Batting sixth, the left fielder, Christian Bullock. Jack Blomgren, the shortstop, bats seventh. Batting eighth, the catcher, Joe Donovan. And rounding out the lineup, as we said, right now is the designated hitter listed as Isaiah Page. He will not be that hitter that comes up.
Well, congrats
have
to
to
him.
wait and see.
He has now officially started in back-to-back College World Series games.
He does officially get the start, once as a pitcher yesterday, once as a hitter today. Unfortunately, took the loss yesterday in Vanderbilt's 4-1 win, despite giving up 0 earned runs. The only run charged to him was unearned. Mason Hickman is the pitcher for Vanderbilt. First pitch to Akeo Thomas, called, strike one with a fastball. Hickman on the year has started 12 games, 19 appearances. He's 8-0 with a 2.08 ERA in 90 2/3 innings pitched. He struck out a whopping 119 batters, walked just 25, and batters hit 183 against him as Akeo Thomas hits a high fly ball towards right side. J.J. Bladay's running over near the stands, and he'll run out of room as that gets about 5 rows deep, and the count's 0-2 on the Wolverine leadoff man.
Here we go. I'm not kind of snuck up on me that this game is started. Hard to believe we are here as deep into Omaha as we can get. Michigan took the long road along the West Coast, and they're going to be here till the very end, going a maximal 3 games in the College World Series final.
Winding up is Hickman, the 0-2 pitch. Check swing on a high fastball. Did he go around? No, says our first base umpire, Adam Dowdy. The umpires today, Perry Costello is behind the plate. Adam Dowdy's over at first. Billy Hayes mans the second base bag, and Grady Smith is at third. Hickman, the tall right-hander, looks in for the sign from his catcher, Philip Clark. He winds. The 1-2 pitch to Thomas. Line towards left field. That one is going to drop in front of the left fielder, Steven Scott. And it's a leadoff single for Akeo Thomas and the Wolverines.
And what a way to start this game. Talk about a guy who wants to play as much college baseball as he can. The final game for Akeo Thomas. a guy who might have had some high pro hopes earlier in his career, some injuries maybe taking down those aspirations, but it would be what a way for him to go out as the lead hitter for the Wolverines and maybe winning the College World Series in his final game. Can't write a story better than that.
K.O. Thomas led off back as a sophomore and has led off both sophomore and junior seasons, bumped down in the order this year. As Jesse Franklin, the second hitter in the lineup, takes a breaking ball outside, ball one. Only fitting that he gets to finish his career in that leadoff spot, and he starts the Wolverines out just as he did several times in Ann Arbor. I say several, I mean plenty of times in Ann Arbor by getting on base. 1-0 pitch, Jesse Franklin, center fielder's line drive down the right field line into right field for a base hit. J.J. Blade is going to field it out there. K.O. Thomas is going to go to third. Michigan's in business with a couple singles to lead off the ball game.
And there we go. Michigan is 4-0 in the College World Series when jumping out to the lead with a first-inning run. They scored 2 first-inning runs in their 2 most recent wins. They are 1 sac fly away, although with Jordan Brewer due up next, you are not thinking sac fly. But if he can make any sort of contact on this one, it should send a K.O. Thomas home. But he can be picky here. He can pick and choose, decide when he wants to go, as a thunderous Let's Go Blue erupts from the stands here in Omaha.
The crowd, probably the thinnest we've seen here at the College World Series, given that's the if-necessary game. A lot of people didn't plan on making it all the way this far. But a majority of the fans in attendance in that maze in blue. A good amount of Vanderbilt fans here as well. First pitch to Jordan Brewer in this at-bat's a fastball called. Strike on the inside part of the plate.
And Michigan is trying to do something they've done a couple times now this season. Take down an undefeated, right now, Mason Hickman 8-0 on the season.
On the top of the first, nobody out, first and third. Michigan looking to jump out to the early lead. Swinging and a miss at a high fastball from Brewer, and it's 0-2 on him.
Brewer already down in this count. Jimmy Kerr did not have a good day by any means. Really a bad championship series, excluding the 1-2-run homer. Not really a footnote you can overlook, but Michigan has to get ahead in this one right now. They left a lot of runners on bases in the past 2 games.
Franklin's running on the 0-2 pitch. That's a single to left field. It'll get down in front of Scott out there. Into scores a K.O. Thomas. Michigan leads 1-0 on 3 singles to start the ball game.
And the psychology of that right there, a K.O. Thomas, I haven't seen anyone that happy in a long time. Jumping around, just giddy to return to the dugout, surrounded in a sea of blue. Michigan in their throwback uniforms. Greeting a K.O. Thomas, the 4-year starter. Really feels like 7 or 8. Number 4 here in his 4th season, and sets up fellow senior Jimmy Kerr. These guys joining the Wolverines in the same class took pretty different roads to get to Ann Arbor, but share the same one to Omaha.
Already got a little bit of action going down towards the Vanderbilt bullpen. We were wondering on our podcast yesterday, or rather earlier today, it's been a long day here in Omaha, earlier on today, how quick the hooks would be for each manager in this one. Tim Corbin rolling out with probably his best starter all season long, Mason Hickman. Albeit probably not recently. That goes to Kumar Rocker. Michigan going with their 2 aces. We'll cover that in the bottom half of the inning. But runners on first and second. 1 run already in on the top of the first for Michigan. First pitch, Jimmy Kerr's a breaking ball, misses way high and away. It's 1-0.
Michigan, these are very related stats. Michigan 4-0 when scoring in the first inning. 4-0 when jumping out in the lead here in Omaha. They did not score in the first and failed to get the first lead of the game for the first times all series long as they fell 4-1 to Vanderbilt yesterday.
1-0 pitch, Jimmy Kerr's breaking ball. He fouls this one off his foot. Goes all the way to the first base over there, but it is ruled a foul ball at home plate by Barry Costello. The count's going to be 1-1 on Kerr. And to your point, Daniel, I might be off by 1 here, but if my count's correct, Michigan, I believe, is 37 or 38-6 this season when they score first. One of the best win percentages, top 10 in all of Division I baseball. And we talked a little bit how Michigan was the away team earlier on amongst ourselves. I said I'd like that for Michigan as the 1-1 pitch to Kerr is fouled back to the screen, 1-2, because they get to hop out to an early lead. A lot of people prefer to be the home team. For Michigan, it seems from their way, they like to do exactly what they're doing right now. Start off with 3 singles, score a run, nobody out yet in the first, looking to really set the tone early on.
Yep, already matching the number of hits they got off Kumar Rocker and haven't recorded an out yet either.
Righty to lefty here. Looking back is Hickman. The 1-2 pitch, breaking ball, just getting a piece of that one as it was bouncing low, was Jimmy Kerr. So he'll stay alive at 1-2, and there's Kerr chasing that low breaking ball again.
Yeah, having to use those long arms of his. A guy like Akeo Thomas simply could not have gotten to that ball if he fell for that breaking ball. Ultimately stays alive, though. We'll see if he can get going again. The guy probably was the front runner for the MOP award entering this series.
Hickman comes set, checks Franklin at second base. Now another 1-2 pitch to Kerr. Swing and miss at a high fastball for strike 3. Kerr struck out on that 3 times yesterday, and Hickman gets him here. 1 out in the first. Michigan still leading 1-0.
That's all right, though, as a guy who's been having another great time in Omaha. Blake Nelson steps up to the plate. Michigan would love to get a multi-run lead in this one, but with the way you've seen Carl Kaufman and Jeff Criswell dealing in this College World Series, 1 in the first is enough to get the momentum going.
You mentioned Blake Nelson's hit well in this College World Series, 6 for 17, 353 batting average. He's driven in 3 runs himself. He's late on a first pitch fastball, and the count's 0-1.
Jesse Franklin taking a huge leap off second plate. Back when he was on first before Jordan Brewer hit the RBI single, he took maybe 8 steps to get to second base and then just stopped. That ball was hit to a part of the outfield, but there's no way you're advancing to third.
Yeah, also stealing on the play, so really had that one right in front of him. Saw there was no way he was going to get to third on that one. 0-1 pitch now from Hickman and Nelson. Not before a spin back to keep Franklin a little bit closer at second base. The defensive alignment for Vanderbilt's the same it's been the first 2 games. Out in the outfield, left to right, Steven Scott, Pat DeMarco, and J.J. Blade. Left side of the infield is Austin Martin and Ethan Paul. Right side, Harrison Ray and Julian Infante with Philip Clark. Behind the plate for the tall right-hander Mason Hickman. Hickman stands out there at 6'6", 230. As both Michigan runners hop out to a slightly bigger lead and force Hickman to spin back towards second again.
It's a really tall starting lineup for that Vanderbilt pitchers group. 6'5", 6'4", and 6'6" are the height of the starters. The one guy with an NFL pedigree is actually the shortest, Kumar Rocker. Of course, one of the few ways in which he makes in which he has the smallest presence on that Vanderbilt pitching staff.
Rocker's been electric, and he certainly showed yesterday, helping Vanderbilt to that 4-1 win and tying this series up. A second pitch to Blake Nelson is a call. Strike fastball at the knees. It's 0-2 now on the Wolverine third baseman.
Yep, Rocker's father, Tracy, playing for both the Auburn Tigers and eventually the Washington Redskins in the NFL. Kumar Rocker likely due for great things in pro sports as well, but he's got 2 more years in Vanderbilt.
So a couple runners on still, 1-0 lead for Michigan. Nelson's down 0-2 in the count with 1 out here in the first. 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss at a breaking ball. He knew about halfway through that he shouldn't have swung, but had to finish the swing anyway. It was too late, and that's 2 straight strikeouts for Hickman.
And now we've got Christian Bullock, one of the slower starters right now for Michigan.
Slower at the plate, necessarily.
Yes, yeah. Slow start is what I was getting at. And that's the only way he is considered slow at anything. The speedy number 5, following up a guy who's had a really great time in Omaha, now batting 1 for 3, is Blake Nelson.
Hickman comes set. First pitch to Christian Bullock's a breaking ball that gets back to the outside corner, strike 1. Perry Costello taking a minute to call these called strikes. Bit of a delay here for us, trying to figure out what that call is, but it is what it is here. It's a big stage. Perry Costello showing off for the cameras, I'm sure. As the 0-1 pitch, swinging and a miss or fouled off and bounces out of Clark's glove is that second one. And now it's 0-2. Huge chance for Hickman here to get out of the inning, only allowing run after Michigan had 3 hits to start off this first inning.
Yep, it'd be huge if he can escape with this. Not a whole lot of extra base hits in this series so far. Bullock, he can turn any kind of regular single into a double, though.
Wide stance for Bullock, 0-2 pitch, fastball, swing and a miss, strike 3 at the high heater. So 3 straight singles to start the inning for Michigan, push across a run, but 3 straight strikeouts from Mason Hickman end the threat. We'll head to the bottom of the first. The score, Michigan 1, Vanderbilt 0, with the College World Series title on the line. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast of Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports.
And Michigan, you had to wonder how they were going to respond after their first loss in Omaha since a month ago against Nebraska. Pretty good response right there, but immediately Mason Hickman settles in and shuts everything down. And that really goes back to the old adage. No momentum there, really. In baseball, momentum is as valuable as the pitching. It's basically all it's good for. Mason Hickman settles in after conceding 3 straight hits to lead up the inning. And it should be Jack Blomgren due up next. And also Michigan getting through 6 means we're going to find out next inning who really is batting for Isaiah Page.
Michigan will take care of that business in the top of the second, but first we have the bottom of the first to deal with, and Vanderbilt will look to respond to the one spot that Michigan put up to start the ball game. They'll send out the lineup they've sent out the last 2 days. Austin Martin, third baseman, bats first. J.J. Blade bats second and plays right field. The shortstop, Ethan Paul, bats third. Batting in the cleanup spot, the catcher, Philip Clark. Pat DeMarco plays center field and bats fifth. Batting sixth, left fielder, Steven Scott. Harrison Ray, the second baseman, bats seventh. At the DH spot today is Ty Duvall. He bats eighth. And rounding out the lineup, the first baseman, Julian Infante. They'll face Michigan's ace in the second half of the season and in the postseason, Karl Kaufman. The big right-handed throwing junior has appeared in 20 games this season, 19 starts. He's 12-6 with a 2.75 ERA and 127 2/3 innings pitched. He struck out 106, walked just 34, and batters hit 220 against the right-hander from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan.
Yep, it was a short road to Ann Arbor for Karl Kaufman, attending Brother Rice High School. Now here in the biggest of stages, you presume he is going to join the Colorado Rockies at the end of this season, so this should be his last appearance in the maize and blue. And the pressure is somewhat off him, knowing that Jeff Criswell is well rested, didn't even start a game in Omaha. If you told Michigan fans to begin with that, you probably most would assume they went 0-2. Instead, they are going the distance here no matter what. As Jeff Criswell can relieve him and can probably relieve for as many as 6 innings, I might think. So Karl Kaufman can play with that comfort and the comfort of knowing he has a 1-0 lead to start this one.
First hitter of the game for Vanderbilt is Austin Martin. A first pitch fastball to him misses down low. It's 1-0. We did say fatigue might be an issue in this one. It is hot and toasty here to start the ball game. Temperatures forecasted to be up in the high 80s to 90s. Certainly feels that way when you're sitting in the sun. As the 1-0 pitch to Martin swung on and missed with the fastball, it's 1-1.
Yep, if there's any team that can respond to going down 1-0, it is Vanderbilt. A murderer's row of the top of the lineup. We'll see how Michigan responds here defensively now. Austin Martin, they've done a pretty good job containing him all series long.
1-1 pitch, breaking ball bounces in the dirt. And the count is 2-1. Austin Martin, for the first time in this College World Series, has a batting average below 400, sitting at 398. Still has an on-base percentage up at 491, though. The man has 10 home runs, 46 driven in as well, and walks more than he strikes out. This 2-1 pitch is way ahead of it and taps it near the Vanderbilt dugout. And the count's going to be 2-2. Vanderbilt on the third base side as the home team today. Michigan over on the first base side representing the away team. Michigan leads 1-0 here in the bottom of the first. Kaufman gets the sign from Donovan Wines. The 2-2. Called! Strike 3. Got him with the fastball on the outside corner, did Karl Kaufman. Martin walks back to the dugout as the first out in the bottom of the first.
And what a way for Michigan to neutralize the threat of a 400 hitter, just knocking down back to the 300s. He's still like a 396 hitter. We'll get the exact math on that in a second when it's calculated, but 396 indeed is his new batting average on the season. Maybe feels a bit different than 400.
It just looks a little less intimidating. What doesn't look less intimidating, though, is J.J. Blade's stat line. As the first pitch to him in this at-bat is hit towards center field on a line. Jesse Franklin's goes over to his right and makes the grab for an easy out, number 2.
And just like that, Karl Kaufman's off to a great start. I really don't see any circumstance where he pitches a complete game unless the Michigan offense really gives him a lot of help. I think Criswell is going to take over in about the 6th or so inning if all goes well, but he is doing a great job preserving his arm early. On 4 days rest, not ideal, but you would think he can go quite a long way with this 4-day rest. Of course, his last pitch started at 1 p.m., not 6 p.m., that also having a slight advantage for him.
It's a little bit of extra rest.
For Karl Kaufman.
Good quick math there.
Yeah, getting into that triple digits. Nailing it so far. Got Austin Martin down to 396 and Karl Kaufman. So
Daniel's on his game today when it comes to numbers. 1-0 pitch by Kaufman. Misses low. Kaufman looks upset with himself there as he spins back towards center field. before getting the ball back from Joe Donovan. The Michigan defensive alignment today, same as it was the first 2 days. Christian Bullock, Jesse Franklin, Jordan Brewer in the outfield left to right. Left side of the infield is Blake Nelson and Jack Blomgren. Akeo Thomas and Jimmy Kerr on the right side with Joe Donovan behind the plate, catching the 2-0 pitch low. Ball 3 from Kyle Kaufman.
Yep, you hate to put runners on for free. That was a big difference in that last game. Only 2 walks in total for the Vanderbilt pitching staff.
Ethan Paul struggled a bit here in Omaha, batting just 188, 3 for 16. The 3-0 pitch to him is in there for a strike with the fastball. It's 3-1 now.
You were just ahead of the times. You knew it when you saw it. It's a 3-1 count now after that pitch was dealt.
Knew it out of the hand. Let's go with that. Watched enough baseball here to know. Been here for, what is it now, 2 weeks?
Basically.
Feels like it.
Yeah, 2 weeks on Friday morning.
3-1 pitch. Fastball called outside, ball 4. Paul tossed his bat. Donovan kind of framed it there, acting like it was strike 2.
Yeah, that one was not obvious out of the hand. Definitely had to wait for the call on that one. Ultimately, though, Kyle Kaufman makes his first mistake of the day. We'll see if he can limit it, though. It's so meaningful to get out of these Vanderbilt innings, not really letting anyone on base. If you can get 3 up, 3 down, you just limit the trips through this Vanderbilt lineup, and oh boy, is it scary at the top of that order.
The 4-hitter Philip Clark now strides up to the plate. Clark with a solo home run in yesterday's ball game off of Angelo Smith. Put a line shot into the bullpen in right field. He's got a runner on first, trailing 1-0 here in the bottom of the first to the Wolverines. As Kyle Kaufman looks over, checks the runner Ethan Paul, comes set, first pitch to Clark. Hit in the air towards left field, slicing. Christian Bullock sees it, fights the sun for a second, and now walks a little bit over towards that third base line and makes the grab for out number 3. So an easy first inning for Kyle Kaufman. Needs just 11 pitches to set down the side despite the walk. We'll head to the second. Michigan leads Vanderbilt 1-0 with the College World Series title on the line. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast of Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports.
And right there, Michigan not really getting to show off their speed in the outfield. They basically have 3 center fielders out there. Really, the center fielder is the slowest guy, and he still might be one of the quickest men left in this College World Series, Jesse Franklin. But 2 balls hit high and right toward Christian Bullock and Jesse Franklin. Bullock has struggled offensively, but he makes up for it with what he brings on defense. Miles Lewis was a gifted outfielder as well, made a great grab here in the Big Ten tournament against the wall, way out in left field. But Christian Bullock had an amazing way to just track down that ball in yesterday's game, closed about a 30-foot gap in just a matter of seconds, and beat out a ball that is most likely a double against any other left fielder. That's what he can bring to the table. And this one, I think going into it, everyone expected a defensive battle, a real pitcher's duel. Maybe 3 really highlight main event pitchers in this one that we expect to see between Criswell, Kaufman, and Hickman. Hickman is 8-0 on the season. Not that hasn't stopped Michigan before. Micah Dallas was 7-0 entering Saturday's contest. 13 days. First math mistake. 10 days ago, I believe that was.
You're back off your game now. It took you an inning. You were on for the first inning.
Yep, yeah. Second inning now, and not quite showing the same stuff. But Mason Hickman, I really doubt he's going to follow up the performance of number 80, Kumar Rocker, who only had one earned run against him. That came after he left the game, but a runner he did put on base scored in Jack Blomgren. But Mason Hickman is 8-0, trying to outshine number 8. He doesn't have to do that, just has to play a good game. He has a 2.09 ERA and 19 appearances on the season. Now, he only started 12 of those. It does, of course, if you're a great pitcher and you're pitching and you have 3 saves on the year coming in late into games, frequently it is easier to have your best stuff if you only need it for a few innings. Unlikely that he'll go the distance, doesn't do that often.
Yeah, similar to what we saw out of Jeff Criswell. He doesn't necessarily go all the distance in the regular season, but here in the postseason, be able to bring extra little oomph behind his pitches coming out of the bullpen. First pitch to Jack Blom. We're going to start off the top of the second. Here's a breaking ball for a strike. Michigan leads 1-0 over Vanderbilt in Game 3 of the College World Series Finals.
And that one was only gunned here at 69. We do think it's a little bit slow, but the gun is a little bit slow.
One pitch misses a little bit low and outside, and the count is 1-1 on the Wolverines shortstop. Blomgren yesterday, a couple hits. The only guy that really seemed to see Kumar Rocker well overtook his teammate Jimmy Kerr for the hits lead here in Omaha. 1-1 pitch to him, swing and a miss at the fastball right down the middle, and it's 1-2.
Yep, Kerr entered this final series leading basically every major hitting statistic. He only has one hit. That was a 2-run homer, though, so that'll keep padding the numbers. But now 1 hit behind teammate Jack Blomgren for the lead. Still leads in runs scored and RBIs.
Blomgren, 8 hits in the 5 games thus far. He watches a 1-2 pitch miss downstairs, and it's 2-2. Trying to frame it there was Philip Clark, but pretty clearly missed below the knees.
Yep, we'll see what Blomgren can do to help the rest of the lineup here. Of course, Joe Donovan, as expected, batting 8th. Isaiah Page still listed as the 9th hitter here.
Winding up is Hickman, 2-2 pitch to Blomgren. This one's hit in the air towards right center field. Blade is going to field it more towards straightaway right field now. He's under it for the routine fly out. 1 out here in the second. Michigan still leads 1-0. They scored first in the top of the first. 3 singles to start off the ball game. Makeo Thomas came in to score. And Carl Kaufman took down Vanderbilt relatively easily in the bottom half. As we get our first look at who might be the DH for Michigan, Riley Bertram is on deck. So that's who it looks like is going to be the guy as Joe Donovan's at the plate. First pitch breaking ball to the Wolverine catcher, misses inside, ball 1.
I don't think we can rule out that Eric Bakich is playing more mental chess here. Maybe he's going to bring Miles Lewis out of nowhere, but probably is going to be Bertram.
Second pitch, also a breaking ball that misses high, maybe a bit inside, and it's 2-0 on the Wolverine catcher, Joe Donovan. We see the other 2 possibilities that Bakich said. Clemente and Lewis are both all the way down the other side of the dugout. No helmets on or anything, so don't think there's any more gamesmanship here. The 2-0 fastball catches the bottom of the knees, I guess. Looked like it might have been downstairs, but called a strike by Costello. 2-1 the count.
I would not be surprised, though, if late in the game we see maybe one of those other 2 guys come in.
2-1 pitch, foul straight back to the screen on the fastball, and now it's 2-2. Hickman.
Bakich may even take this pitcher by pitcher. If Hickman goes 6 or so innings and then a pitcher who he thinks that Lewis or Clemente is more well-suited against, he could pull the string there and put one of those 2 guys in.
Hickman, the tall right-hander, winds. 2-2 pitch to Donovan. Hit high in the air towards center field, right center field now. Coming in is Blade and the center fielder, DeMarco. It'll be Blade calling him off to make the grab in shallow right center for out number 2.
It almost causes a 3-man collision there in shallow centerish rightish field. Ultimately, though, no damage done. We're going to see Riley Bertram for the 2nd time All-College World Series. Got into that Texas Tech game that was a 15-3 win for Michigan in Michigan's last run at the bat in the top of the 9th. But he ultimately got hit by a pitch and then advanced to second, and that was all we've seen out of the youngster. Riley Bertram not going to be playing defense today, filling in for Jordan Wogu.
So they go through the traditional pinch hitter paperwork. Does home plate umpire Perry Costello, writing it down in his book, making sure he keeps the lineups all straight. Bertram in the 9-hole, DHing today, up 1-0 already are the Wolverines. First pitch breaking ball to Bertram, misses outside, ball 1. And Bertram, one of the stories early on in this college, or in this NCAA tournament for Michigan, coming in replacing Jack Blomgren when he got injured in Corvallis, and playing, frankly, stellar baseball. That's a 1-0 pitch, breaking ball, called strike on the outside part of the plate, 1-1. Coming in his very first game in this NCAA tournament, first start as a Wolverine, he proceeds to go 4 for 4 with a double and a hit by pitch. 1-1 pitch to him this time, misses high and away with another off-speed pitch, and it's 2-1. It's the reason that he, on the season, is batting .400 and the .483 on base percentage. Granted, only 28.5 at bats. As a 2-1 pitch misses downstairs, 3-1.
And there we go, Bertram already halfway home to getting on base again in the College World Series. Would be a nice 1,000 on base percentage.
His stats aren't even listed here in our little stat book, so we can't even appropriately say that he is the leader in on base percentage here. But we know it. There's a 3-1 pitch, misses high, ball 4. So there you go. Riley Bertram gets on base in the 9-hole, turns it over to the top of the Michigan order. That singled 3 times to start off the ball game, and is the reason Michigan has their 1-0 lead.
And guess what? There still is one .400 hitter in this ball game. It's not Austin Martin anymore, though. It is Riley Bertram, 4 for 10 on the season.
Oh, no, he's more for that now.
No, the official stats
25 at bats.
Oh, 10 hits. Sorry, 10 hits.
There you go.
He has 4 runs, 10 hits. That tripped me up there.
Yeah.
Math game falling apart right now.
The second inning is not your inning, Daniel.
Not at all.
K.O. Thomas steps up with a runner on first. Pickoff throw chases Bertram back diving. He slides in safely. Hickman worried about the run game. Bertram did not steal a stolen, or does not have a stolen base this season. Has not even attempted a stolen base this season. Has scored 4 runs, though. He is going on the first pitch here. Fastball called strike. Throw down to second is not in time. Also dropped by the second baseman, Ray. So Bertram gets his first stolen base as a Wolverine. Take that base home with you, Riley, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, I think he gets that souvenir. I mean, they don't need it at the end of the game. Why not, shoot your shot, just go ahead and ask the grounds manager here. And the man who already has scored today already has a single with a runner in scoring position. We'll see what the speedy freshman can do here with the grizzled 4-year veteran.
Stepping off for a second is Hickman before delivering to a K.O. Thomas. Now comes set at the belt. The 0-1. High fastball, it's 1-1. And you did mention, ask the grounds crew if you can maybe steal that bag. This ground crew has done a fantastic job all College World Series long. They did a great job back in the Big Ten tournament, and they kind of upped their game here, even quicker turnarounds, kept this field in beautiful shape. I expect nothing less at this point out of these guys. So just wanted to get the shout out there as we're wrapping up our College World Series journey. Hickman comes set. 1-1 pitch to a K.O. Thomas. Fastball misses outside, ball 2. Thomas trying to extend Michigan's 1-0 lead here in the top of the second. Throw back to Hickman actually got away, but not too far. And the shortstop, Paul, picked it up near the infield grass. No chance for Bertram to maybe take a free base there. Not that it would do a whole lot. Vanderbilt outfield is playing shallow, so it could be a play at the plate depending on if a K.O. Thomas gets one towards one of those outfielders. Schnabel might think about holding Riley Bertram, the third base coach from Michigan. 2-1 pitch to Thomas now. Called, strike on the inside corner with that fastball, and 2-2. Hickman doesn't have electric stuff, doesn't lay up the radar gun or anything, but does have a lot of movement on his pitches, the reason he has so many strikeouts on the year. Already has 3 in this ball game, looking for number 4 here to get out of the second inning. Stares in for the sign from his catcher, Clark. Sophomore on the mound, sophomore behind the dish. The 2-2 pitch. Swinging and a miss, strike 3. Put the fastball right under the bat of a K.O. Thomas. Picks up his 4th strikeout of the day, does Mason Hickman. And Michigan goes down without scoring in the top of the second, despite the 2-out walk. We'll head to the bottom of the second. Michigan leads Vanderbilt by a score of 1-0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports. I'm Austin Falco. Alongside me, Daniel Thompson, bringing you Game 3 of the College World Series final. Last game of the college baseball regular season. This one's for all the marbles, the national championship on the line.
And Michigan right now is 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. They're off to a good start, but have not bucked that ugly trend. They do, though, get the reward of an easier part of the Vanderbilt lineup to deal with. That is, of course, a relative term. But you're going to want to get ahead. Mason Hickman, this guy has some staying power, and Vanderbilt is 16-0 in his last 16 appearances. Of course, those not all being starts. Only starts in a little under 2/3 of his appearances. 19 on the year, as I mentioned. 12 started, 3 saves, 90 2/3 innings pitched. 25 walks, 119 strikeouts, a very similar ratio to Kumar Rocker. This one just a tad under 5-1, while Rocker was just a hair over. Also does not give too many freebies to runners already on the bags. Michigan, of course, had 2 wild pitches that drove in runs in that catastrophic 5th inning for them. 6th inning, rather. Only 3 wild pitches in 6 hit, and only 3 wild pitches on the year, and only hit 6 batters as well. So it's going to be difficult to get on for free and advance for free. Likewise, he only has an opposing batting average of .183. The sophomore from Hendersonville, Tennessee, homegrown product, has been a nightmare. 16 wins in his career. Went 8-2 last year, trying to avoid going 8-1 and try to expand and set a new personal record for wins in a season is Mason Hickman.
He's behind 1-0 though as his team comes to the plate in the bottom of the second inning against Carl Kaufman. Kaufman needed just 12 pitches. I kept saying 10. 12 pitches to get through the bottom of the bottom of the first inning against Vanderbilt, despite a walk in there. First pitch to Pat DeMarco, the center fielder, righty against righty, is a fastball. It misses off the plate inside. Didn't miss by much, but it's 1-0. On the season, DeMarco, the first non-300 hitter in this Vanderbilt lineup. Just a 294. No big deal. As the 1-0 pitch to him, he's out in front of it and taps it foul up off the camera well and into the stands. It's 1-1.
And this guy still does damage, though. He had that go-ahead double in the top of the ninth that put Vandy over Louisville to get them here in the CWS final series. Mason Hickman got the start in that one, but no decision despite giving up 0 runs.
1-1 pitch from Kaufman. Fastball misses downstairs. It's 2-1 now.
After he left the game, Vanderbilt conceded 2 runs to Louisville in the 7th before ultimately coming back, scoring 2 in the top of the 9th to win 3-2. Hickman did leave that game with the lead, though.
That was a wild ball game. I remember leaving here with Louisville in the lead and hearing Vanderbilt come back. This is hit high and deep towards left center field. Christian Boas going back, near the track, the wall, gone! Solo home run. Pat DeMarco ties things up at 1 here in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
And Michigan, they've really enjoyed playing with the lead. In fact, they've only had 5 1/3 innings with a deficit. Not the case yet, but basically a fresh inning still. None out. Patrick DeMarco ties this thing up, and Michigan isn't going to get too many runs off Mason Hickman. The game plan then for, though, is not to give up many, with Kaufman and Criswell being very well rested. We went over Hickman's history a bit late this season in the College World Series. Kaufman not doing too shabby himself. Currently undefeated in the NCAA tournament, 4 appearances, 4 wins. Right now, though, looking at no decision.
DeMarco's 7th home run of the year, 49th RBI, evens things up at 1 in the bottom of the 2nd. He turns it over to his fellow outfield mate, Steven Scott, the left fielder. Takes a first pitch fastball on the outside part of the plate. It's 0-1. DeMarco, you mentioned the big hit to get Vanderbilt to the College World Series final. Has a big hit here in the decisive game. It's a fresh ball game. Kaufman winds up 0-1 pitch to Scott. Another fastball, another called strike.
Kaufman's had some good resiliency. The first time Michigan trailed this whole series was back on Friday when he made a poor decision to double-check his throw home and ultimately being too slow on an errant throw as well.
Winds up the 0-2 pitch to Scott. Misses off the plate away. Tried to get him to chase, did Kaufman, but Scott laid off. And it's 1-2 now.
We'll see if he can stay mentally strong. Gave up a 2-run homer while nursing a 4-0 lead in the first game here in Omaha.
Kaufman has good arm side run on his fastball. Moves away from a left-hander like Scott. I think that's what he went with there. This time he tries to snap off a breaking ball or off-speed pitch, but can't clip the outside corner, and it's 2-2. Kaufman looks a little frustrated on the mound every time he's missing his spot with the pitch. Don't know if it's just the stakes or that's just the way Karl Kaufman pitches out there. Winding up 2-2. Swinging and a miss, strike 3. Got him with the changeup, dropped right under the bat of Scott. That's the 2nd strikeout of the game for Karl Kaufman, and there's 1 out in the bottom of the 2nd.
And what a way to get yourself back in the game after surrendering a solo home run. Ring a guy up. That'll do a lot of good for the psychology of it. And I do think Michigan has a considerable advantage just given the stakes here and where these two teams started the NCAA tournament. We'll touch up on that more between the innings as Harrison Ray is due up now.
Harrison Ray probably looking at that Michigan defensive alignment, 3 infielders on the left side of second base as he puts a foul ball up near us and off my hand. Man, that was my chance there. Didn't think that was coming up. And goes right in the water back here. Anyway, it's 0-1 on Harrison Ray. Fitting that final game, I finally get a foul ball up over here.
I should have backed you up there. Should have gone up from my spot and been there to catch your deflection. Ultimately, though, it was not meant to be. As another pitch is going to be a called strike, it looks like, against Harrison Ray.
0-2 count on Ray now. That ball was collected. I think I might give it to a fan over there in the stands.
And, you know, that's going to be very symbolic for one of these two teams here.
Upset with myself with that last play, but Harrison Ray swings and misses at strike 3. Karl Kaufman sets him down on strike. 2nd straight hitter, 3rd strikeout of the day for Kaufman. And there's 2 outs in the 2nd.
Kaufman, not much of a strikeout hitter. Already has 3 through 5 batters. Ty Duval now due up. He's put 1 on in each of his first 2 innings, not out of this one yet. Of course, that one this inning, though, being a very costly solo home run.
Ty Duval, the left-hander against the right-handed throwing Kaufman. The DH waits. First pitch. Fastball just below the knees. It's 1-0.
1-1 game in case you're just joining us and hearing of this home run. So 1-1 game, none on, 2 out here in the bottom of the second. A lot of baseball ahead of us.
Kaufman stares in. 1-0 pitch. Another fastball. Another one misses just below the knees. It's 2-0. A lot of close pitches here early on. Been about 50-50 from Perry Costello behind the plate. Doesn't appear to be given that low strike too often early on here. We'll monitor that as the game goes along. Kaufman works from the first base side of the rubber. Puts the glove up near his mouth before he winds up in the 2-0. Another fastball. Gets the called strike this time at the knees, and it's 2-1.
I've received word that there are 2 Michigan State fans right behind home plate in the ESPN national broadcast shot. So don't know if they're trying to support their Big Ten colors or maybe just trolling the Michigan fans.
Might have to send one of us down there to get an interview. As a 2-1 pitch off speed catches the outside corner. It's 2-2 now on Duel.
Yeah, we came to Omaha with a 4-man crew, so that definitely would have been in the picture earlier. Might be hard to get one of us down here and still fill the air, but nonetheless, enjoy seeing the Big Ten represented here in Omaha.
2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. After the leadoff homer, Kaufman strikes out the side, but that leadoff homer ties things up at 1 here through 2 innings of play. We'll head to the third. As I said, the score, Michigan 1, Vanderbilt 1. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports.
And yeah, I'm not really worried about Carl Kaufman after that home run. Strikes out 3 guys in a row. If you tuned in right before that inning started, right after that home run, you might have thought he had a perfect inning right there, ringing up 3. But the psychology of this one is huge, and why I think getting off to an early lead is tremendous here for either team if they can get one and maintain it for a while. But Michigan, I think, has the psychological edge. They've come all this way, and no matter what, they're going to be happy about the season. It's going to sting for a while if they lose this one. But they can hold their heads high. Vanderbilt, meanwhile, they're the number 2 team in the country. If they finish number 2, they did better than you realistically would have expected, but they basically did what their title was. Michigan, of course, being the great Cinderella story that Cinderellas frequently have a bit of a psychological edge, but they aren't really that much of one. They have a ton of talent on this team, much like the Fresno State team that won it all, the only 4 seed to do so. They were ranked 17th in a preseason poll, both Michigan in 2019 and Fresno State way back in 2008. So this team, at the beginning of the year, wouldn't be that surprising to see them get here. Did not really bring it all together, though, until the Big Ten tournament. They had it going all the way back in late April. Were ranked 19th with a 3.5-game lead in the Big Ten before losing 4 of the last 6 in conference, and ended up losing by a half game watching Indiana defeat Rutgers in Bloomington to win the Big Ten on the final day of the regular season.
And head coach Ed Backus has talked at length about that, how the end of the season they were really pressing. They were trying to not lose that Big Ten title, and were not playing loose. As soon as they kind of lost that Big Ten title and then lost the first game of the Big Ten tournament, they started to kind of open up a bit later on in that Illinois game, had a little bit more fun. And you see them playing right now. They're one of the more fun teams to watch because they look like they're out there just playing a game here at TD Ameritrade Playground, as the man stepping up to the plate coined it in a press conference a couple games back.
Yep, Jesse Franklin finds himself on a few of these leaderboards, maybe most notably runs scored, only 1 run behind teammate Jimmy Kerr with 5 to Kerr's 6.
First pitch to him is fouled back behind the plate and off the press box. The count is 0-1.
Also in second for RBIs, 2 behind Kerr, so he's not going to catch up to him in this inning unless it's a really long one.
Righty to lefty. Second pitch of the at-bat misses downstairs with an off-speed pitch. It's 1-1 on Franklin. Franklin deposited the second pitch he saw into right field for a single in the first inning, the second of 3 straight singles to score Michigan's only run thus far in a 1-1 ball game. This time he fouls a 1-1 pitch tapper past Michael Berdard in the first base coach's box. The count 1-2.
Yep, he's also currently in a huge tie for 5th place in home runs, one of 16 batters to go yard here in Omaha.
1-2 pitch to Franklin. Called strike 3. Got him with the fastball at the knees. That's the first time I think Perry Costello's called that pitch all day, and that's the count them up, 5th strikeout for Mason Hickman already in this ballgame.
Yep, he's really settled in here, much like Kaufman. Not allowing a hit since giving up that 1 run. Hickman's only hiccup since then being the walk on Riley Bertram, who did steal to get to second, but could not advance any further as he got on with 2 outs.
First pitch to Jordan Brewer this time is an off-speed pitch that bounces way in front of the plate, and it's 1-0. And Brewer got down 0-2 in the first inning before depositing the RBI single into left field over the head of the shortstop Ethan Paul and second baseman Harrison Ray, who was shifting over to that side, as he is right now. 3 infielders to the left side of second base. 1-0 pitch to Brewer. This time is a line drive fouled on the left field line.
Ooh, and narrowly, dangerously roped along that third base line. Ends up going foul by about 10 feet, though. That ball had a nasty curve on it. If it bounced fair, it could have really gotten caught along the wall.
Would have been a double had he been able to straighten that out just a little bit, but he was in front of it. And now the 1-1 pitch to him is fouled up and onto the roof here at TD Ameritrade. It'll bounce all the way back. Daniel Thompson going to go fetch that ball if he can. And the count's going to be 1-2. Brewer had that 2-strike count when he singled in the first, looking to do so again here perhaps, but he swings and misses at a breaking ball. 75 miles an hour on the gun. Another strikeout for Hickman, 6 on the day, second straight in the third inning. And there's 2 outs. Still tied up 1-1 here between Michigan and Vanderbilt in the decisive game of the College World Series. That'll bring up Jimmy Kerr, who was the first strikeout victim back in the first inning against Mason Hickman. After allowing those 3 singles, Hickman struck out the side to end the threat in the first. This time the first pitch, Jimmy Kerr, is an off-speed that misses off the plate. Look, it's outside, and it's 1-0. Kerr widely publicized his story here at the College World Series. 1-0 pitch misses downstairs. It's 2-0. Fact that he is a third-generation College World Series player for the Maize and Blue. Both his grandfather and father in attendance for all the games along this Michigan postseason run. He fouls, rather hits one in the air on the left side of the infield. Going back is the third baseman, and calling him off now is the shortstop, Ethan Paul. He makes the grab in shallow left field for the third out of the inning. As Daniel Thompson returns empty-handed, Michigan goes down 1-2-3 in the third. We'll head to the bottom of the third inning. Still tied up. Michigan 1, Vanderbilt 1. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports.
And I think that one just had too much speed on it. Ends up rolling off the roof and in and down, falling down to the street level is what I think happened there. The ball nowhere to be found. Inning was over by the time I got back. How did Brewer go down, just to give me a summary?
He struck out on a breaking ball. Was way ahead of it.
I heard some applause, so I figured something significant happened. Wasn't sure if it was going to be a single, a double, a strikeout, or what. Looks like that's what it was. As Michigan not really taking advantage of their opportunities, and neither are we at WCBN. 2 very gettable foul balls.
That one's going to haunt me forever. Had it in the hand, couldn't come up with it.
And I think it really is analogous to whoever the losing team is. Saw their opportunity coming for them. Were so close after a very long journey to get here. Ultimately, they could taste it. They could feel it. You couldn't taste it. That's good that you couldn't taste it. But they could feel it. And not quite coming up. Literally empty-handed. As it looks like one of these teams, our broadcast might be pretty analogous to it. Good opportunities, not seizing the day. That was, I think, Michigan's story batting for both games, really. Left 12 on in Friday's affair and left quite a few in scoring position today, yesterday. So far, they are 1-4 with runners in scoring position. Could be up 2-1 now, maybe, with some more clutch batting.
Yeah, for Michigan, you said the story's been leaving runners on. They left 2 runners on in the first, left a runner on in the second. Didn't leave anybody on in the third as Hickman really seems to settle in. He's got himself 6 strikeouts on the day. After giving up that 1 run in the first, that's all Michigan's gotten through those 3 innings. Kaufman will look to keep Vanderbilt at 1 also. They'll face the 9-1-2 hitters to start things in the third inning. Julian Infante, the first baseman, steps up to the plate. The big first baseman to the opening press conference. A man of few words. First pitch to him is a fastball called strike 1.
Really cool name, though. It feels like, maybe James Bond's sidekick or something, Julian Infante. Feels like that last name has some sort of significance one way or another, kind of infinity. You never know. So he lets his name do the talking, is what I think I'm getting at there.
I get it. Okay. 0-1 pitch now. Another fastball. Actually, that was the changeup, it looked like. Moving a little bit in on Infante. It's a called strike regardless. And it's 0-2.
I think he definitely does take the first base spot in my all-name team here in Omaha.
Really? Okay. That's a bold spot. That's a real honor. He should be proud. 0-2 pitch. Tries for the fastball. Just Kaufman. It misses downstairs. It's 1-2. Infante will be looking to break this 1-1 tie if he can get a pitch to drive. Has 12 home runs on the season. Big-time power hitter. Does strike out a lot. Not so nice. 69 strikeouts on the year. 1-2 pitch to him. Just getting it off the end of the bat and fouling it through the legs of Joe Donovan was Infante. He stays alive. The count's 1-2.
And doesn't have to break this one open by hitting a home run if he can just get on with none out. And Austin Martin, lost my train of thought there for a second, and J.J. Blade due up next. A very good chance he would end up scoring.
Kaufman will look to retire this first batter here and maybe set the tone for the inning going back to the top of the order. 1-2 pitch. Swinging and a miss, strike 3. Kaufman strikes out his 4th straight batter. All of them swinging. He's got 5 on the day. And that will bring up the aforementioned Austin Martin.
5 in total now for Karl Kaufman in a 1-1 ball game. You just hate to play catch-up in Game 3 of the College World Series final. Someone is going to have to do it, though. Vandy already doing it successfully, as it does look like that ball truly is lost.
Had someone else take a look up here. Karl Kaufman used that slider back there to get Julian Infante. Back in the first, he throws Austin Martin. I believe it was the fastball to get him for the first strikeout victim of the day. This time he starts him off with, it looks like that changeup movement inside to the righty. It's on the inside corner for strike 1.
Martin no longer the 400 hitter of this ball game. We'll see if he can do any work to get himself back up there. I think it would require 2 straight hits.
Kaufman winds up the 0-1 to Martin. Fastball just misses. Had to be inside because that pitch missed low. Perry Costello was really inconsistent with that bottom of the strike zone.
And we don't have a great gauge on inside or outside from where we're looking. Low and high is really our specialty right now.
Third pitch of the at-bat is fouled off the end of the bat by Martin and back behind him. So the count is 1-2. Martin just 1 for 9 in this College World Series final thus far. His hit coming back in the first game. I believe it was the middle innings of that first game, his second at-bat overall. Also walked in that first game.
And outside of batters 6 through 9 in the lineup, he's the one other that Karl Kaufman has retired.
Kaufman looks in for the sign, looking to put Martin away again. 1-2 pitch. Off the end of the bat, Blake Nelson makes a sliding stop near the line. He throws to first, strong throw, picked by Jimmy Kerr. Nice play on both ends to get the future first-round pick out for the second out of the third.
Yep, and it's come up several times where Austin Martin would be batting third in an inning, and we talk about how huge it is to get the first 2 out, have none on, 2 out for Austin Martin. Now he's got none on, 2 out for J.J. Blade, the second most deadly batter in this lineup. Homered in the first game of this College World Series finale.
That was his first homer in Omaha for the College World Series. He leads all of D1 baseball with 27 home runs on the season. Flew out to Jesse Franklin routinely in the first. On the very first pitch he saw, this time he sees a first pitch breaking ball miss a little bit low outside, and it's 1-0.
27 home runs in the college baseball leader. Definitely does sound like the 4th overall pick kind of material to me. Also a lefty, so easy to see why he went in the top 5.
Future Miami Marlin takes a 1-0 pitch just off the plate away. Ball 2.
Future Miami Marlin, we think. You never really know with Derek Jeter and the new ownership group, a fan of trading highly touted prospects.
Fair enough, fair enough. Future Miami Marlin farmhand, we'll say.
Most likely.
Kaufman winds up the 2-0. Bounces in the dirt, 3-0.
And the hot streak might be coming to a quick collision here after 4 straight strikeouts and getting Austin Martin grounding out to his fellow third baseman Blake Nelson. 3-0 count, not looking great for Karl Kaufman.
We'll see if Blade swings at the 3-0. He does not. Kaufman just fires a fastball outside, ball 4, and Might have been one of those intentional walks after getting down 3-0. You don't want to groove one and give up the tie game to J.J. Bleday.
Absolutely. Going into it, even walking him is not that bad of a result. He's a 347 hitter, and with the power hits he has, liable to hit a home run. Just taking one base on the at-bat is not a bad result if you're the defense when J.J. Bleday is due up. 2 out, 2, so in all likelihood, not going to cause a headache for Michigan, but Ethan Paul is no schlub either, batting .311, 72 RBI on the year.
He walked in the first inning against Kyle Kaufman, the first batter to reach. He fouls the first pitch, this time back to the screen. It's 0-1. Saw the fastball to start things off, looked to drive it, but couldn't get enough of it to do any damage. Bleday over at first base, not a threat to steal. A single stolen base this season on 2 attempts. Can take the extra base if, say, Paul put this one into right field, but Vanderbilt might be weary of running on Jordan Brewer at this point. 0-1 pitch, breaking ball called, strike 2 at the knees.
Another one that was pretty low. Ultimately, Hellmuth giving those out today. That all batters should be thinking about that going forward. If you have one that's in doubt, might want to swing at it. At least being consistent, if maybe a little bit off on a few of them. Here in this 1-1 ball game, Ethan Paul is trying to break that open.
Kaufman looks in for the sign, trying to get his 6th strikeout of the day. 0-2. It's a line drive up the middle for a base hit. Past Blomgren over there, not trying to go to third is Bleday. He'll stop at the second base bag. And the second hit of the day for Vanderbilt puts runners on first and second with 2 outs, looking to break a 1-1 tie. That ball almost hitting Kaufman as it came right up the middle. Kaufman kind of moving himself just out of the way. Really had no shot at getting the glove in the way or anything like that, trying to make a play.
And Vanderbilt has yet to have a runner in scoring position. Only run coming from that Pat DeMarco home run last inning. They can maybe get a rally going here. Classic 2-out rally to break this one open. Michigan trying to keep it 1-1 going into the 4th inning. Philip Clark, though, has other plans. And I'm sure Carl Kaufman could really use another 10 to 20 minutes before facing Pat DeMarco yet again.
Michigan's 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. As you said, the first at-bat for Vanderbilt now with a runner out there at second base. Clark flew out to left in the first at-bat. First pitch to him this time is a breaking ball in the dirt. Nice stop by Donovan to keep the runners at first and second. That was a problem for Donovan yesterday. Several wild pitches, a pass ball thrown in there. Just was not able to get in front of some of these pitches that Wolverine pitching was spiking in the dirt.
And you're right, Michigan is 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. I said 1 for 4. They've been 0 for 4 since getting that RBI with Akeo Thomas at second.
Clark ahead in the count 1-0. The pitch to him this time. Another ball bounces in the dirt. Donovan fields and throws down to first, perhaps trying to get Ethan Paul on the back pick, but waited just a split second too long. Paul was back in safely.
And had that ball not skipped, he might have been able to beat Paul, although maybe Paul would have retreated sooner. Joe Donovan led the Big Ten in passed balls, and that was a big issue yesterday as well as a bit on Monday. Maybe the difference in this one even. Philip Clark, at the bat right now, has been phenomenal, blocking everything.
He's up in the count 2-0, trying to do something with the bat now. He fouls it to the left side. That's going to get over near the dugout and into the Vanderbilt dugout by a couple steps. Blake Nelson gave chase, but really never had a shot at it. And the count's now 2-1.
If he somehow knew where that ball was going to be, he probably could have been standing right on the edge of the dugout and leaned in to catch that. Not having read up on my dugout interference rules, but I think there was a good chance that would have came up had Blake Nelson gotten there in a hurry.
You figure if someone's running over, it's generally courtesy there to prevent a dugout interference or some sort of interference call by jumping down off that top step. They knew there was no shot on that one. 2-1 pitch to Philip Clark misses high and outside, ball 3. Kaufman getting into a little bit of trouble now. His next pitch will be number 50 on the day here in the 3rd inning. And stamina definitely something to watch out for, especially for these starting pitchers, given the heat, given we're not sure how quick the hook is going to come.
Yep, I don't think the game plan is to have Jeff Criswell seed by the 4th inning, but I think 5th and onward is where if you have any doubt, you go to Jeff Criswell.
Kaufman comes set. 3-1 pitch to Clark. Fastball misses high and away, ball 4. Joe Donovan liked it, pointed at his pitcher, but didn't get the call. Now the bases will be loaded for Pat DeMarco, the man driven in the only Vanderbilt run thus far on a solo home run just last inning in the second.
As a 2-out rally now is looming large here for the Commodores. Only one of those coming via a hit. 2 walks for Carl Kaufman after retiring 4 straight via strikeout and then getting Austin Martin to ground out. Now has the 294 hitter, probably up to 296 now. And he is in grand slam territory as we speak.
Kaufman, his last couple outings, uncharacteristic of him. 4 walks back in the game against Texas Tech, just 3 strikeouts. Right now he's sitting at 3 walks, and we're in the 3rd inning with 2 outs. As
we see Criswell, Page, and Salter run toward the dugout, you would think Page and Salter are... Page can't get into this game. He's already been pulled out. Was in the designated hitter spot. And that'd be something, too, if Salter started coming in for relief. So Criswell is going to be the one warming up with the chance to come in here. Unless he gave up a grand slam, I do think Kaufman is going to be in here for the rest of the inning, even if DeMarco gets on base. And if DeMarco does get on base, that means Vanderbilt has taken the lead 1-1 for the moment. That could change in a heartbeat, though. Stay tuned here on WCBN Sports.
Mound visit by Chris Fetter is over. Carl Kaufman steps back on the rubber. And Pat DeMarco, the home run hitter in this ball game to even things up at 1 apiece, stands with a chance to untie it. First pitch to him fouled off right off of Joe Donovan. I think it got him in a very valuable spot. He is rolling around on the ground in pain.
Michigan, of course, already having 1 batter out of the lineup. I don't think this will be a long-term injury for Joe Donovan.
Now, he's going to need a couple seconds, though. If it hit him where I think it hit him, it's going to be a couple minutes there before Joe Donovan is feeling all right. That's why you wear the protective padding down below the belt. Haven't seen a replay or anything, but based on the reaction, that's kind of what I assume. No one came out of the dugout to check on him even until Eric Bakich just now comes to the plate.
There are children here. They might not want to show that one, a graphic scene, but Joe Donovan looks ready. He gets a little pat on the chest from head coach Eric Bakich in game number 421 of his Michigan head coaching career. It will be the last regardless. Earned number 250 in his last win at the Big Ten tournament, has since gone on to win 9 more, looking for number 260 for the Wolverines.
Perry Costello takes his time getting back behind the plate and now summons Pat DeMarco back up to the dish. The 0-1 count on the center fielder for Vanderbilt. Kaufman looks into Donovan for the sign. Donovan flashes the signs across, patting the chest and the knees before putting down the numbers. Kaufman gets the sign he likes, the 0-1. Fastball misses low, 1-1.
Don't want to get behind in this one. Would hate to give up a run due to 3 walks and 1 hit. Michigan still out hitting Vanderbilt, but they hit the first 3 at-bats they had and then have gone lights out since, stone cold. Nothing doing. Vanderbilt, meanwhile, is starting to warm up here as we progress through this one.
1-1 pitch from Kaufman, off speed, foul back to the screen. It's 1-2 now. Big chance for Carl to get out of the inning.
Yep, and he is already set up DeMarco to swing to protect for the rest of this at-bat. Anything that he thinks could be a strike will likely draw a swing. So Kaufman doing a great job giving himself some room to work with the bases loaded. A jam he put himself in, 1 pitch away from working his way out of.
They gave up the 3-0 walk to J.J. Blade, then the 2-strike single to Ethan Paul, another 3-1 walk to Philip Clark to load him up. Trying to keep this game tied 1-1. He's ahead in the count 1-2 on Pat DeMarco. Kaufman set. 1-2 pitch. Just misses low. The Wolverines started jogging off the field, but ruled just a tad low by Perry Costello with the fastball, too. I got to be honest there. That one looked an awful lot like the ones he's been calling all day.
I am on the same page there. Does not look like Costello is on the same page as himself from an inning ago. That might have been a ball in most games, but with the way Costello has been calling it, that's a tough pill for Kaufman to swallow. Still has a ball to give, though.
2-2 pitch now. Off speed, misses high, ball 3.
And that was not a good ball to give. He's got to throw strikes from this point on.
Vanderbilt fans now on their feet, hoping Kaufman might even walk in the go-ahead run here in the 3rd inning. Criswell in the bullpen not throwing yet, just stretching. Don't know how early Eric Bakich is going to go to him, but Carl Kaufman definitely laboring here in the 3rd. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 1-1 the score. Pat DeMarco looking to untie things. Carl Kaufman looking to end the inning. Gets the sign from Donovan. Comes set at the chest. 3-2. High fastball, ball 4. Pat DeMarco picked up his 2nd RBI with a walk on 3-2. And that 1-2 pitch looms large as Carl Kaufman loses them. It's 2-1 Vanderbilt.
Michigan does not like to trail. Trailed for almost their entire time down here in this series. Only had 2/3 of an inning of a deficit against Texas Tech. 4 1/3 yesterday. That actually comes out to an even 5. Now going to have at least 5 1/3 down throughout the series. They have to retire Stephen Scott, though, the first of 4 consecutive batters to strike out for Carl Kaufman.
Yeah, Scott went down on a 2-2 pitch the first time he saw Kaufman just last inning after Pat DeMarco hit that solo homer. Kaufman looking to keep the damage at just a 2-1 score. This one's a single up the middle for a base hit. 2 runs are going to score. Vanderbilt's going to blow this thing open. It's 4-1 in favor of the Commodores with a 2 RBI single from Stephen Scott. Michigan's in big trouble now.
And really difficult scene for Michigan right now. Carl Kaufman, a guy who's been your rock all postseason long, unraveling a bit here, maybe earned his way out of the inning, but a shallow blooper into center field breaks this one open. 4-1 deficit. That's what they had to try to undo late in the game yesterday to no avail. Mason Hickman's going to be a very difficult one to beat now.
Harrison Ray with a chance to crack this one open even more. Got runners on the corners. Vanderbilt leads 4-1 here in the 3rd. Vanderbilt fans loud in their support. They're on the cusp of the national championship now. They can start counting the outs with a 4-run lead.
Vanderbilt has scored 4 in every game so far. They are a good hit away from 5, or a passed ball as Joe Donovan gets beneath that one and gets the block.
Count is 1-0 on Ray. Ray struck out on 3 pitches against Kaufman last inning in the 2nd. Criswell now throwing in the bullpen. Could be seeing him sooner rather than later. Kaufman checks the runner at first. That's Stephen Scott, the left fielder. Scott, 5 for 6 on stolen bases. I doubt Vanderbilt tries to really put anything in motion with 2 outs as the 1-0 breaking ball misses low and away, 2-0. Kaufman seems to be unraveling with his command now.
Two pitches away from walking the bases loaded yet again as the Vanderbilt faithful cheer on a mound meeting between him and Joe Donovan.
Vanderbilt fans definitely in the minority here, but loud in their support. As I said, they can taste that College World Series championship now. Huge 3-run inning here in the 3rd. Kaufman almost got out of it without allowing anything. But Vandy hopped on the bases loaded walk and then a 2-run single. And now has Harrison Ray ahead in the count 2-0 with a chance to drive in another run over at 3rd.
Yep, it's a 3-run, 2-out rally. Only 2 hits in it, though.
Kaufman comes set, the 2-0 fastball fouled off to the left side. Counts now 2-1 on Ray. Ray hasn't had a ton of success in this College World Series. 1 for 9 officially. Does have himself 5 walks, though. If my mistake, he's 1 for 10, counting the strikeout earlier. A little bit of Let's Go Vandy, I believe, with the chants going on in the background there. Kaufman comes set 2-1. Off-speed pitch called, strike 2. Kaufman just wants to get out of this inning at this point. He's all the way up over 60 pitches. And might be seeing his Wolverine career come to an end in a way that he would have preferred go a little bit better, we'll say. Righty to righty. Kaufman looks over at the runner at first. He comes set. 2-2 pitch. Fouled off towards the left side. Actually going to stay fair by a little bit as Blauman goes over to the line and makes the grab for out number 3. But Vandy with the 2-out rally. They get 5 runners on after 2 are out in the inning. They score 3 times and take a 4-1 lead here in the decisive game of the 2019 College World Series. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan Baseball here on WCBN Sports.
And with all the foul ball shenanigans in the last inning, we kind of missed out on our typical third inning stretch trivia question. It would have been a lot more opportune to ask it half an inning ago, but I think we'll deliver it anyway.
Our Planet Subs Omaha trivia question of the game.
Carl Kaufman is presently 4-0 in the NCAA tournament right now, looking at long odds to get it back to 5-0, but we'll see if he can do it. He's also 2-0 in Omaha at the College World Series. And last year we saw for the first time ever, Kevin Abel, the closer for Oregon State, recorded his 4th win in the College World Series. That was a record in its 73-year history. Kevin Abel, the first to win 4 games, coming late into that game and getting the win in a 3-2 Game 3 of the College World Series finale. Did Kevin Abel to win the College World Series and his 4th game against Arkansas. If Carl Kaufman gets the win tonight, he will join a list of other pitchers to record 3 wins in Omaha. How many other pitchers have recorded exactly 3 wins in the College World Series? We're not counting Kevin Abel. How many are exactly at 3? And Carl Kaufman might join them tonight, although the odds are long as we speak.
So, to put it in simpler terms, how many pitchers have won 3 games in the College World Series?
Yes. You can maybe argue Abel won 3, because then one is 4th. So exactly 3. The one ad amendum there, but that will be our trivia question. Come back at the end of the 4th inning. We'll stay with us through the end of the 4th, and we will give you the answer.
Vanderbilt leads 4-1 here, as you can get your guesses in the YouTube chat.
We will count your first guess, by the way, Nate Petz.
Blake Nelson takes a first pitch low. It's 1-0 on him. Nelson went down on strikes on 3 pitches against Hickman in the first. This time ahead in the count, 1-0. The pitch to him. Swings at a high fastball and misses. It's 1-1. Nelson's had himself a really good CWS here in Omaha. Was looked a little bit overmatched in his first couple times seeing Hickman thus far. Almost like time and a half, really. He's just kind of getting this at-bat going. Hickman looks to be in a groove, though. Works from the first base side of the rubber. The big right-hander fires a 1-1 that catches the outside corner at the knees, 1-2.
And that one's just about as low as the Kaufman one that made a big difference, but that's baseball. You cannot leave it up to judgment. Carl Kaufman did and then unraveled there in a bit.
1-2 pitch. Off-speed, swing and a miss, strike 3. Nelson goes down on strikes for the second time today. That's strikeout number 7 for Hickman. There's 1 out in the 4th. Vanderbilt leads 4-1.
Michigan now down 3 runs. They were in that same situation in the 8th and the 9th yesterday, down 4-1. Had nothing going and did not win because of that. We'll see what they can do here.
First pitch, breaking ball to Bullock. That one looks like it might have been a bit low, but ruled it crossed the knees. It's 0-1. Bullock, who struck out in his first at-bat as well, pulls back. A breaking ball bounces in the dirt. It's 1-1.
Wise call here, I think. Hickman has really settled into this game. Try to get something going, laying down a bunt, and have the College World Series hits leader due up next.
Third pitch, the at-bat's a called. Strike with the fastball. Pop in the mitt there was Hickman. Hitting up to 89 on the gun here. Probably about the highest I think I've seen him hit this far in this ball game. Getting stronger as it goes on. The 1-2 breaking ball misses outside, ball 2.
We'll see if an unlikely hero here, Christian Bullock, didn't get into the starting lineup until the Big Ten tournament.
2-2 pitch misses low, ball 3.
He'd be quite the runner to have on with 1 out. You put anything into the outfield and he might score from first, even if it's a shallow blooper out to left or something. He's got the speed to do it.
3-2 pitch. Misses low, ball 4. So Bullock draws the walk here, gets Michigan started perhaps with 1 out in the 4th. They trail by 3 runs. They just need base runners at this point. Tying run still in the dugout. We're still early on here, still in the 4th inning. But Michigan would really like to kind of cut into that lead as quickly as possible, change the momentum a little bit in this ballgame. Blomgren, the shortstop for Michigan, College World Series hits leader, will stop to the plate here, having flown out once to right field in this ball game. Right-handed hitting shortstop. Waits the first pitch. It's a fastball. It misses high, 1-0. And Hickman started a lot of these Michigan batters with off-speed pitches. Starts off with the fastball there, perhaps trying to mitigate the speed of Christian Bullock, thinking he might be on the go with the first pitch and wants to give his catcher as much time as possible, because if Bullock picks a breaking ball to go on, he's into second pretty easily. Pickoff throw to first base, just getting back in time before the tag is Bullock. And Infante thinks he might have gotten him.
I think I agree with Infante. A little bit of sloppy technique there from Bullock. Got back quickly enough, but placed his hand on the top, almost opposite end of the bag rather than going to the near end. Might have gotten away with one there, did Bullock, but he's still on for the College World Series hit leader at the plate.
Hickman comes set. Going is Bullock on the pitch. It's a line drive into center field and gets Bullock will go to third. It's first and back.
And if DeMarco let that one pass, and he's already responsible for two Vanderbilt runs, rather, walking in an RBI and scoring a homer, would have had his positive knocked down, plus minus, I guess, knocked down to 1, because Bullock would have been gone in a heartbeat. He had already left to steal, but I think even if he had a regular leadoff from first, he might have been able to get to third in this one.
Almost certainly.
And now another runner in scoring position. Many runners stranded at third here in the College World Series finale for Michigan, even with 1 out. Down 3, you're not really thinking to do sacrifice flies, but with a guy like Joe Donovan and still plenty of time to play in this one, I think you got to look for a sac fly here, or at least just try to go the distance.
Blomgren fakes running on the first pitch. It's a fastball, misses inside, rather breaking ball misses inside Donovan. 1-0 is the count on the catcher for Michigan. You mentioned Donovan hits those fly balls, was really drilling it against UCLA. Flew out to routine right field earlier on in this ball game. With Christian Bullock's speed, that might be enough. Pickoff throw chases Blomgren back diving at first base.
Yep, Joe Donovan usually does not hit them shallow. He hits them deep enough that really anyone can tag up from third. But Bullock, you put it in the outfield, he can score.
Another pickoff throw. Blomgren back in standing this time at first base, and Infante has to kind of jog after grabbing that one. Got him a little off balance, did that throw. 4-1 the score here. Vanderbilt leads Michigan in the decisive game to determine who wins the 2019 NCAA Men's Baseball Championship. Michigan looking to strike back in it with runners on first and third, 1 out in the top of the 4th. 1-0 pitch to Donovan. Breaking ball misses for ball 2. I think that one missed a little bit outside, and it's 2-0.
And now Hickman is in danger of loading the bases for a man batting .400 on the season. Maybe not that significant of a .400, but any .400 through 25 at-bats is still very significant, just not as sure of a thing as Austin Martin.
Hickman comes set again. 2-0 pitch to Donovan. Fastball called strike 1. Donovan got the fastball on 2-0. Might have been looking off speed there and looking for something for Hickman to hang one in the zone and drive one deep. That's what he did back in the first game on Monday. Got an 0-1 breaking ball and drove it in over the bullpen in left field. Pickoff throw. Blomgren's back in standing again.
Yep, Vanderbilt being very aggressive with these pickoffs, and they might have gotten Bullock, who could represent the second run of the game for Michigan. You think about little differences in the way, it's fractions of an inch in how this game works out and is called, and that could have serious effects on the scoreline. Bullock.
2-1 pitch fouled back over the screen and out of play. It's 2-2.
Got back in the lick of time. Even if he didn't get there, he made it close enough. And for that, he is now on third. 2-2 count. If Joe Donovan, can fly one out, he will bring Inch Michigan 1 run closer. Riley Bertram in the batter's circle.
2-2 count, though, on Donovan. Could be a big time for strikeout number 8 if Hickman can get it. He comes set. The 2-2 offering. Breaking ball, line drive, caught by the shortstop, Paul. He throws back to first base. Blomgren just gets back in standing. probably should have slid back as he just barely beat that throw.
And that is not one that anyone's going to tag up on. And Michigan right now in serious danger of stranding at another at third. They've done it 3 or 4 times now. Had a runner on third with at least 1 out on, or maybe even 0, a chance to tie things up with a sac fly. Not tie things up, but bring it closer. But Riley Bertram, the freshman, in a huge moment right now with leadoff hitter Akeo Thomas due up next. 18th batter faced. Hickman already has 7 strikeouts.
Up to 68 pitches here in the 4th inning, but has himself a nice 4-1 lead. Runner still at the corners for Bertram. First pitch fastball misses way high and outside. That one got past Clark. That would have been a run for sure. Bullock retreats back to the base, backpedaling.
And Clark has just been phenomenal. Saving one high there. That is going to score just about anyone if it goes over his head.
Probably bounces off the screen behind the plate and deadens right back over there. As it stands, though, just a 1-0 count. A chance for Hickman to put another 0 on the board. 1-0 pitch to Bertram. Another high and away fastball. It's 2-0. I don't know if they're scared of Riley Bertram or what. He walked in his first at-bat. Up in the count 2-0 here.
He may never get to hit one. He got hit in his first appearance versus Texas Tech and is close to walking twice right now as Blomgren fake stealing yet again. Vanderbilt has no one in the infield close to second base right now. Playing Harrison Ray very deep. 6 or so steps deep into the outfield.
2-0 pitch. Blomgren again faking stealing, as you said, and it's a called strike on the outside corner. Another close pitch there taken by Bertram, and it's 2-1. Bertram, as we said, 25 at-bats on the year, 10 hits. Has walked twice now with that one back in the 2nd inning. The freshman seeing significant time in the postseason. Back in the Corvallis Regional, and now here in the biggest game of the year. 2-1 pitch misses high and outside, 3-1 now on him.
Jack Blomgren still turning some heads out of that fake stealing move. It gets me basically every time, but right there, the catcher Philip Clark stepping up and turning toward first, maybe just trying to bait Vanderbilt into throwing one they shouldn't, and that could be a way to bring Bullock home and maybe advance Blomgren into scoring position.
Pickoff throw chases Blomgren back diving at first. He's in with plenty of time.
Yep, only way they would have caught him there is if they caught him right before he started his fake run towards second. Still, though, no one really near second. He could have a chance to get there if he goes.
Paul playing right behind second base, the shortstop. Yeah. Would most likely be the one covering on a steal.
But does have 4 or 5.
Almost assuredly, I should say.
Yeah, 4 or 5 steps to close the gap.
3-1 pitch. Blomgren is running. It misses outside, ball 4. Bertram walks for the 2nd time today, and the bases will be loaded for the senior Akeo Thomas. Just the guy Michigan probably wants in a clutch situation right now. Tying run on first base. Go-ahead run at the plate here in the 4th inning. Michigan trails 4-1. There's 2 outs in the 4th. And we're going to get a mound visit here for Vanderbilt.
And we've said it a couple times now in this finale broadcast. When Michigan has been down, the go-to guy has been Akeo Thomas. Leveled things up and actually gave him the lead with 1 swing of the bat in the UCLA Super Regional, getting an 2 RBI single in the top of the 7th when Michigan was down 2-1, makes it a 3-2 ball game. Michigan did not trail until early in that Texas Tech game. In the top of the 3rd, he had an RBI single to make it a 3-3 ball game before Michigan ultimately extended it to 6-3 and then 7 an inning later.
Scott Brown will make his way back to the dugout from the mound after chatting with his big right-hander out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Hickman, just a sophomore, pitching on a huge stage. Head coach Tim Corbin having a lot of faith in his young guys. Yesterday was the freshman Rocker. Today, the sophomore Hickman with a chance to win the College World Series. Big moment here. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Vanderbilt's up 4-1. Akeo Thomas at the plate. The senior takes the first pitch, breaking ball, bounces in the dirt, 1-0.
Yet another good block from Clark, and we have some deja vu right now. Just a half inning ago, Michigan had only conceded 1 run, then loaded the bases with 2 out, ended up walking a man before giving up a single to concede 3 in that inning. Michigan can return the favor now.
1-0 pitch is a called strike on the inside part of the plate with the fastball. It's 1-1 now. Hickman not one to walk many batters. He's walked 3 so far in the ball game, including 2 this inning. Bullock over at third, Bertram at first. Blomgren, who's at second, singled in between them. as Hickman comes set for a 1-1 to Thomas. Fastball hit towards left field. That's probably going to hang up, and it will hang up for the left fielder, Scott. He makes the grab for out number 3. Couple of hard hit balls from Michigan that inning, but they come up empty with the bases loaded and do not score.
And Michigan strands another third base runner with 1 out. They can't keep doing this if they're going to win this series. They've played very well for an underdog, but ultimately they have made way more mistakes than Vanderbilt, and that will likely be the difference in this series.
6 runners left on through 4 innings at the plate for Michigan. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. The score remains Vanderbilt 4, Michigan 1. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast from Michigan Baseball here on WCBN Sports. I'm Austin Falco alongside Daniel Thompson, bringing you the action in this decisive third game of the College World Series Finals. It'll be Kyle Kaufman to resume on the mound in the 4th inning. He gets the 8, 9, and 1 hitters in this Vanderbilt order. Criswell looks ready to go in the bullpen whenever Eric Backett should go to him, but you got to figure he wants at least 4 innings out of Kaufman at this point, even with the 4 runs on the board.
Yep, Kaufman does have by far the most usage, and you got to wonder if that's maybe building up to him on 4 days rest here at the end of the year. He has thrown over 300 more pitches and 50 more innings than any other Michigan this season and in any other season in his Michigan career. 3rd year for him. 300 more pitches, 50 more innings than the freshman and sophomore editions of Karl Kaufman. And you got to wonder if maybe the arm has run out here. He got the first 2 out easily. Looked like he was ready to deal for a while, but then gave up a 3-run, 2-out rally in the 3rd inning. Michigan had one of those way back on the opening game 1 of this College World Series. In the final game, they gave up that 2-out 3rd inning rally. That was proving very costly. Michigan had a chance to have a 2-out rally of their own. Ultimately came up short as Akeo Thomas flew out to left field. Very similar to the way he got on base, but that one hung in the air for way too long.
Ty Duvall is going to lead things off here in the 4th inning. Vanderbilt leads 4-1. He takes the first pitch outside, ball 1. You got to figure Kaufman's leaves very short here in the 4th inning. Griswold looks ready to go whenever needed. Warming up at full blow in the bullpen in right field. Righty to lefty, Kaufman winds up the 1-0. Off-speed pitch, catches the outside corner. It's 1-1.
Ty Duvall striking out, one of 4 consecutive batters to strike out for Karl Kaufman.
1-1 pitch, fouled off to the left side, up out of play. And the count is now 1-2.
Kaufman usually doesn't get his batters out via strikeouts, but he really was on fire there for a second. Strikes out 4, gets Austin Martin to ground out before things really fell apart for him.
Kaufman working out of the windup with no one on here to start the 4th. The 1-2 pitch. Hit in the air down the left field line. That one's going to hook and get foul into the seats. And it will remain 1-2 on the DH for Vanderbilt.
When you put 5 straight batters on with 3 walks and 2 singles given up, you're going to give up some runs. And that's the difference here. Michigan down 4-1 because of a 2-out rally.
Michigan couldn't have a 2-out rally of their own to respond there, and now the 1-2 pitch from Kaufman misses high and away. 2-2's the count.
And that has been the difference. Michigan had some chances to get back into yesterday's game. Could have really blown open the first game on Monday, ultimately stranding close to 20 batters now in this finale series.
Stranded 6 today, 12 back on Monday. I believe they might have stranded 4 yesterday, if my numbers are correct, so up over 20. As a 2-2 pitch, misses high and away, ball 3. Kaufman just doesn't seem to have it right now.
Nope, and now a full count for number 20. Criswell is capable, I think, of finishing off the last 6 innings here if need be. Kaufman, though, you would hope he can get out of this one, facing 8 and 9 to start off with in the Vandy lineup.
Kaufman winds, the payoff pitch. Fastball outside, ball 4. Another walk for Karl Kaufman, an uncharacteristic 5 on the day for him now.
And that's 6 of his last 7 he's put on. Still avoiding the extra base hits, but you don't want anyone on for Austin Martin. And you might wonder if Infante could be his last batter faced of the day.
You can't see him going through and facing the top of the order a 3rd time. Not with the way his command has seemingly been lost, and that will be the last batter for him right there, actually, Ty Duval. Eric Bakich walking out of the dugout, going to go get Criswell on the mound. Criswell undoubtedly not going to be happy with the way he started off today. Gave up 4 runs. He is responsible for the runner on first here. Can't even make it through 4 innings.
That will also burst the bubble of our Planet Sub trivia question.
Might as well give the answer now since we got a pitching change.
Yep, yeah, that's a good time to get it in. The answer was 8. Kaufman had the opportunity to become the 9th pitcher to earn exactly 3 wins in the College World Series. The best result for him now, though, would be a no decision. I believe we did have one person get it, although it was his 2nd attempt, so we're not going to give it to him. He said,
give it to him. Give it a shout out.
All right, fine. Maybe Nate Petz can get it. He said 4, immediately changed it to 8. Kellen Lambert said 6, then 4, so a lot of second guessing here. Shout out to Tyler F0451 saying 4 and sticking with it.
Kaufman comes off the mound for the final time in a Michigan uniform. Gets a nice hand from the Wolverine faithful. Unfortunately, not the finish he wanted to his Michigan career, but certainly a stellar Michigan career, especially here in his last season. Becoming the ace of the staff, earning the role of the Friday starter, pitching lights out and earning a ton of praise in the NCAA tournament. Just seemed like kind of ran out of gas near the end of this season. His last couple of starts, not quite Carl Kaufman quality. He'll turn the ball over to Jeff Criswell for the Wolverines, the man we expected to come out of the pen today. Criswell, normally the 3rd starter for Michigan, coming in relief in this postseason, especially here in Omaha. On the season, Criswell has appeared in 21 games, that's 17 starts. He's 7-1 with a 2.58 ERA, 3 saves on the year for Criswell. He's pitched in 101 innings, struck out 109, has walked 47. And batters hit 228 against the big right-hander out of Portage, Michigan.
Yep, 2 super sophomores now in the game, and he's going to try to level up Mason Hickman on the year. If he wins this one and Hickman's still in when Michigan takes over, if that ever happens, they will both finish the year 8-1, but Criswell will finish it a lot happier. 7-1 for now, though, currently wearing the reverse of his record on his jersey number 17, 6'4". Still a little bit shorter than Hickman. It's a really tall group that Vanderbilt trots out there for pitching. He's got one on, though. Kaufman charged with 4 earned runs. Number 5 could be on the way if Criswell can't get himself out of this mini jam.
Jeff Criswell, reliever extraordinaire for Michigan in this postseason. All 3 of those saves coming in the postseason, all 4 relief appearances coming here after the conclusion of Michigan's regular season. He could have had a 4th save, honestly. Just kind of missed it by, I think, 1 run or 1 out would have sufficed. Relieving Kyle Kaufman leaving Tommy Henry a couple days ago against Vanderbilt. Was just off by a little bit. Could have had himself his 4th save. But he does throw hard, does Kaufman. Criswell has the strikeout stuff that you didn't necessarily see out of Kyle Kaufman and Tommy Henry, despite the high strikeout numbers. He is very much a power pitcher. Could get a fastball that touches the mid-90s. Has a nasty slider break off it. If he is controlling both of those and can add a little bit of a changeup, he's a deadly weapon for Eric Bakich to use. First batter he'll face is Julian Infante, the big first baseman. Infante squaring around a bunt at first, now pulls back as Kaufman comes set. See if he squares. He is not, as the first pitch fastball misses high, 1-0.
Criswell now tasked with going a full 6 innings. Michigan burned their bullpen, used basically every available arm they had. Isaiah Page already cannot enter this game as he was the designated hitter to start things off. Never actually got in, though.
I had to figure he was the only true unavailable arm out of the bullpen.
Yep, I could see Ben Kaiser getting into this one, maybe.
Criswell comes set, the 1-0. Fastball blew right by Infante. 93 on the gun here, which means probably a couple ticks higher, up near that mid-90s mark. And it's 1-1.
But Criswell has still thrown less than 90 pitches throughout this College World Series. Got involved in day 1, now involved in the final day. I think he has a full 6 in him. But should some of his innings go long, we might see Ben Kaiser, I think, would be the go-to guy. Didn't throw a whole lot and looked okay in his outing.
Criswell looks over, checks the runner on first, Duval. Not going is Duval as a breaking ball is swung on and missed by Infante. Tried to slow down his swing about halfway through, but couldn't do so, and the count's now 1-2. That good sharp slider from Jeff Criswell coming in handy here against Infante, who's already struck out once today. Infante's had trouble making contact really all of this College World Series finals. 70 strikeouts now on the year for him after that one earlier. And Criswell's going to come set, trying to make it 71. Glove in hand at the belt, checks the runner twice now, and 1-2 pitch. Fastball, just getting a piece of it there was Infante and fouling it back behind the plate. The count will remain 1-2.
The art of swinging to protect will be big here, as the big scoreboard has Jeff Criswell frozen at 1 total pitches, but that's not at all accurate. If Michigan gets back in this one, but Vandy can get rid of him, that'll be a big win for them, if Michigan is going to be thin in the remainder of the bullpen.
Criswell hopes it doesn't have to come to that. He's going to come set again for another 1-2 to Infante. And the pitch. Swinging and a miss, strike 3. Got him with that slider. Infante goes down on strikes for the second time today, and Criswell struck out the first batter he's seen. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Vanderbilt leads 4-1 over Michigan.
Michigan needs to slowly take this inning by inning, try to climb back in this one. Had a good chance to maybe put 1 or 2 more runs on the board, but came up short in the last one. 22 runners in scoring position, we believe, or 22 runners left on base, we believe, in this series. That is not going to do. You cannot take down a juggernaut like Vanderbilt with leaving runs on the board.
He gets to face Austin Martin in the top of the Vanderbilt order now. First pitch to Martin, time call at the plate. Criswell was taking a little bit too long for Martin's liking, so that fastball that would have been strike 1 was waved off. So the count will remain 0-0 on the future first-round pick. Austin Martin, highly touted. Just a sophomore this year, will be draft eligible next year. Projected in the top 5, maybe even number 1 overall. He's 0 for 2 today, strikeout and a ground out, in which Nelson and Kerr both made great plays on. First pitch he sees from Criswell officially is an off-speed pitch. That's strike 1.
Martin still 0 for 2, and Michigan has done a great job containing Austin Martin. However, it's been a few of the less heralded, still near 300 batters who have been getting the work done for Vandy in this final championship series. Patrick DeMarco, not one of the least of that group.
0-1 pitch from the big 6'4" right-hander. Misses downstairs with the fastball. It's 1-1. We didn't give you the uniforms for the day. Michigan is in their blue uniforms. Yellow Michigan, or rather maize Michigan on the front. Numbers underneath, numbers on the back, also in maize with white trimming. They're in their throwback bottoms. So the off-whites with the high socks, the stirrups, blue stirrups, maize horizontal stripes. 1-1 pitch to Martin. Another fastball misses low. It's 2-1. Vanderbilt, meanwhile, has their light golds on top. Their whites on the bottom, black numbers and black lettering on the jerseys for the Commodores. Vanderbilt black hats with the Vanderbilt logo. Michigan blue hats with that maize block M. Criswell's down the count 2-1 here to Austin Martin, trailing 4-1 in the 4th. Not going on the pitch was Duval, and a slider is swung on and missed by Martin. It's 2-2.
And he hasn't stolen a base all year. That's not a very convincing leadoff from Ty Duval. Doesn't really have the history to back up that fake. Ultimately, I don't think anyone on Michigan bought it. And the count is even up to 2.
Criswell looking to strike out his second straight batter. Checks the runner again. Comes set 2-2 to Martin. Tries for that slider. Martin lays off it this time, though, as it missed low and away. It's 3-2.
Able to check his swing well in advance. So full count for Austin Martin, who still is looking for his first hit. 0 for 2 on the day. Rarely does he go 0 for 3. The now .395 batter.
And this is what Vandy wants here. They want to make Criswell work. As you mentioned, Michigan does not have much left in the bullpen. These were the 2 guys they banked on, Kaufman and Criswell. Kaufman gave up 4. Criswell is full now on Martin. The 3-2 pitch. Fastball dropped by Joe Donovan. It's ball 4. Don't know if he would have gotten the call had he caught it, but ultimately, we'll never know up here. as
Yep.
2 runners are now on with 1 out.
You can't frame a ball that you don't catch.
I don't think that one missed by much if it did miss, but Joe Donovan has to catch that ball if you're the catcher, and as you said, at least present it nicely for the home plate umpire, especially Perry Costello, who's been gullible so far on a couple of these framed pitches, especially at the bottom of the zone. J.J. Blade, now the dangerous lefty, steps up to the plate. 2 runners on, a chance to break it wide open. Vanderbilt already leads 4-1.
Vanderbilt yet to score 5 in a game. Prime opportunity. Home run would really break this one open. A single, though, could be enough to make it 5-1. Ty Duval is not very quick, though.
First pitch to Blade, off speed on the outside corner, strike 1. You figure, Criswell probably going to stick to some soft stuff. Don't let Blade get a fastball grooved. Make everything move. That slider working backdoor, that changeup, power changeup moving down and away from him. Don't expect to see anything straight in this at-bat. Blade's 0 for 1, fly out and a walk, run scored. The 0-1 pitch to him this time. He gets that fastball, but it's inside off the plate, and it's 1-1. Again, didn't miss by much. Joe Donovan tried to frame it. Michigan fans a little bit up in arms at Perry Costello. We believe with some decent reason early on, but that pitch did look like it missed a little in.
Criswell has to ignore all of that, though. Those are not his batters, his runs that scored. It's a fresh ball game for him. 1-1 count versus the 4th overall pick.
The 1-1 pitch fouled back behind the plate on an off-speed offering from Criswell, and it's 1-2.
Criswell himself could potentially wind up a first-rounder, really speedy thrower. At least a former MLB draft pick was telling me earlier this week that he believes Criswell has the stuff to go in the first round. Maybe outshine his 2 teammates who went in the mid to late 70s in last month's draft.
Blade down in the count 1-2 here. Criswell get a huge strikeout getting rid of this guy without any damage being incurred. Try to keep it a 3-run game. He comes set. 1-2 offering. Foul back to the screen. Remains 1-2. Tried to blow that fastball by him, but Blade's bat a little too quick, as you'd expect from a highly touted prospect like Blade.
Yep, we already brought it up. The Division I baseball home run leader. He could really crack this one open.
Has the power to go deep in any count on any pitch. It was the first pitch, the at-bat against Tommy Henry, that he went deep on. He's a little bit farther in now. This will be pitch number 5, a 1-2 again. It's a line drive towards the middle and into center field for a base hit. Jesse Franklin was playing very deep, so he won't be able to get the runner at home. It's 5-1 Vanderbilt. This one seems to be getting away from Michigan.
Yep, and you got to wonder about that strategy. Of course, it's understandable with J.J. Blade's batting prowess, but Ty Duval, a slow guy, did not get off to a good jump. If Jesse Franklin played a bit closer up, he could have cut off Duval, probably not even got him to run. He's an easy guy to throw out, too. Ultimately, though, Michigan now down 5-1 in this one. They haven't given up 5 yet. Won the first game 7-4, lost the second one 4-1. And giving the offense their toughest task of the series against the undefeated Mason Hickman.
Ethan Paul will step up to the plate now with a 5-1 lead for Vanderbilt. Runners on the corners as Austin Martin moved up over to third base. Paul, 1 for 1 today. Walked in the first, singled, and came around to score in the third. Criswell's worked a few deep counts already. Strikeout, walk, single. Ground ball will be huge here. Instead, it's a fly ball towards left field. Christian Bullock stops in his tracks, catches it in the sun, but that'll be deep enough to score Austin Martin. It's now 6-1 Vanderbilt. They look like the better team right now, as they have all College World Series long.
And no one is throwing home there. Not even Jordan Brewer was going to beat the runner home. Doing what Michigan could not earlier in the 4th inning. It was Christian Bullock himself at third with 1 out. Runners on the corners, 1 out, much like the situation was for Akeo Thomas. Fly ball way deep there is accomplished. Michigan could at least be 1 run closer now had they done the same. Things are looking grim right now for the Wolverines. Scored 7 in game 1. They're going to have to do at least that to win this one.
Vanderbilt fans on their feet here feeling real good about a 6-1 lead. They've scored 6 times in the last 3 innings, a 1 spot, a 3 spot, and a 2 spot. And perhaps could keep this inning going a little bit longer with Philip Clark at the plate. Runner on first is Blade. He did not tag up on that deep fly ball to left. Clark's been on base once today with a walk, and he hits a line drive towards right center field, going over Jesse Franklin. That's going to get down in front of Franklin and Brewer for a base hit. Thinking about going to 2 is Clark, but he stops. Runners at the corners again for Vanderbilt. The offense for them is alive. Perhaps Eric Bakich thinking maybe he should have gone with Criswell yesterday. Didn't give this Vanderbilt offense a chance to get going. They did get going yesterday, working at bats, hitting the ball, and now they look to be rolling on all cylinders.
Yet Michigan needs to stay in this one. Just give yourself a chance. The road to a championship looks awfully steep right now, but it's only going to get steeper if they concede more runs. Take this 1 out at a time. Try to find their way back in it.
Chris Fetter is going to go out to the mound for a mound visit with Jeff Criswell, try to settle down the sophomore.
MVP chance coming from the Vandy section. Not sure exactly what they're talking about. I would guess
I don't
Pat
think
DeMarco.
that's MVP. It's Patty.
Patty,
cheering
okay.
for Pat DeMarco coming up to the plate.
Okay. Bit hard to decipher that, but
They got Patty D signs they're holding up. DeMarco has already gone deep for a solo homer in the second, and then walked and got an RBI in the third.
so 0 for 1, I'm on the day with the listening skills. Patty D, not MVP. Every syllable of that rhymes, though, in my defense.
So the mound visit has ended. Criswell comes set at the belt. Runners on the corners. First pitch to DeMarco's a fastball uncorked, low and away, ball 1. Criswell can't walk in a run here should DeMarco be able to work a walk. But there are runners at the corners. Base hit will break this one even more wide open. Michigan's an offense that's capable of putting up runs, but a 6-1 lead is not ideal. The second pitch of the at-bat is swung on and missed by DeMarco. Donovan dropped the ball, trickled away. I thought it might have been a foul ball at first, but either way, it's a 1-1 count.
And Donovan, who struggled a lot with passed balls, has yet to let anything by him that actually cost Michigan anything. No stolen bases yet from Vanderbilt. He's really good at picking off the runners.
The third pitch of the at-bat is fouled high to the right side. That's going to get into the stands. Jordan Brewer gave it a quick look, took a couple steps, but just watched it fall. And now it's 1-2.
Michigan needs to stop the bleeding now. Pat DeMarco not yet to record an out. Home run way back in the second and a walk in the third. He could do damage in 3 straight innings.
1-2 pitch hit high in the air towards right field. Jordan Brewer's going back near the track. He's going to have his heels on the warning track as he makes the grab to finally end the inning. Vanderbilt scores 2 that inning thanks to an RBI single and a sac fly. Michigan's on their second pitcher of the game as we head to the 5th. The score, Vanderbilt 6, Michigan 1. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast of Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports.
So Michigan now repeating yesterday's trend, giving up runs in 3 consecutive innings and burying themselves. Couldn't climb out of the hole yesterday. Did give themselves some more time, and they already did strike first. We'll see if they can cash in that first run to end up being very decisive. You never know here. We still have 5 full innings of baseball to be played. At minimum. Well, 4.5 at minimum, I guess you could say. Vandy, the home
There you go.
team.
You finally got it right this time. Took you a little while. Kept messing
We're
up the
learning.
innings there. But
Took a whole College World Series, but we got there.
eventually lined up the innings right. And you got to figure the message in the dugout right now for head coach Eric Bakich is just stay loose. That's what they've done all postseason long.
Yep, it's been a long road to get here. Vandy playing 70 games, Michigan playing 71. Their records 58-12 versus 50-21 respectively. Vandy the preseason number 1, Michigan the preseason number 17. They've been called the Cinderella, and I think that's fair, at least just representing the North and the Big Ten in general, and they have done them proud already, snapping a 53-year championship game appearance drought for the Big Ten. Right now, though, they're a long ways away from snapping an equally long championship drought. Not that it's really their responsibility to carry the flag for the Big Ten, but they've done it, and they've made a lot of Big Ten country proud. They have unfinished business still, though. Jesse Franklin, who is already homered, one of the runner-up in a lot of stats here. We'll see if he has anything. The route Michigan, that solo home run from Pat DeMarco, first of 6 for the Commodores.
Yeah, Michigan just really needs this spark at this point. Like you said, Franklin drives one down the right field line. Get going to be foul, though. The count is 0-1. Might have had home run distance on that one had he straightened it out.
Yep, just a bit early to that ball. And one that didn't get an official look at it, but did appear to be going a bit slower than Hickman's typical fastball.
The 0-1 to Franklin, swing and a miss. Blew the fastball by him that time, and it's 0-2. Franklin's 1 for 2, single and a strikeout looking in the first and third innings, respectively. Trying to get things going for Michigan here in the fifth. He led off the third, in which Michigan went 1-2-3. Hickman seemed to really settle in that third inning. Trying to keep him on his toes here, 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3 at the high fastball. Hickman really dialed in now. That's strikeout number 9 on the day for him. I'm sorry, that's strikeout number 8 on the day for him. I gotta learn how to count here. Jordan Brewer steps up to the plate for his third at-bat against Hickman. Brewer, like Franklin, single and a strikeout thus far. That single was an RBI in the first to score Michigan's only run thus far. First pitch to the Big Ten Player of the Year is a breaking ball, misses low and away, ball 1. Vandy playing very loose out there. You can tell right now Philip Clark just sidearming that ball back to Hickman on the mound. Hickman getting right back up there and the 1-0. Fastball, I'll call it strike 1.
The Big Ten Player of the Year, he had that single early on to drive in the only RBI for Michigan. With Wogu out, he's the go-to guy for Michigan to get something started, beside maybe a K.O. Thomas, who did get the action started with a hit in this game.
Fouls a little chopper to the left side, and the count's going to be 1-2 on Brewer now. Now, you mentioned Michigan just needs one little spark here. They're looking for someone in that lineup to do it. Brewer's a good candidate. He is down on the count 1-2 here, but he did single on a 2-strike count in the first. 1-2 offering this time. The breaking ball bounces in front of the plate, and it's 2-2.
Yep, Michigan already has scored 5 in an inning in the College World Series, scored 7 here in TD Ameritrade Park. Earlier in the year in the Big Ten tournament, it only takes 1 inning. It's never really over in baseball until you record that 27th out, but that at-bat is done for Jordan Brewer.
Striking out, looking there. Now it's on the shoulders of the freshman Riley Bertram to extend it just a little bit longer.
As Akeo Thomas watches from the batter's circle.
Bertram calls time. This could be it here. Eater with a 2-2 pitch. Misses high, ball 3. Bertram showing a lot of poise for a freshman here, not chasing those high fastballs, fouling a couple pitches off against a really good reliever in Jake Eater.
Yep, big things are ahead of him. Maybe might not reach a team accomplishment as high as this one. We'll have to see, but he can play a big part in future tournament runs.
3-2 pitch. Fouled back over the screen again and out of play. So Bertram stays alive for at least one more pitch at 3-2.
Yep, he is savoring this moment, making everything he can of it. Didn't play a ton in this season, but really got involved in the NCAA tournament.
Everyone down around home plate on their feet. A lot of people with phones in their hands trying to catch the final out. The 3-2 pitch. High fastball, ball 4. What an at-bat by Riley Bertram.
Yep, that is some mental toughness right there. It's easy to think about maybe the flight home, moving on to next season, trying to get better. But Akeo Thomas now given another opportunity.
Akeo wants to go out on top. It's a long shot now, but Michigan can get themselves an improbable 2-out rally here. It'll help going through the bat of their 4-year starter, their senior, their second baseman, Akeo Thomas. Thomas 1 for 4 today. The first pitch to him from Eater. High fastball, ball 1.
Thomas represents one of just 2 Michigan runs. The other man representing the latter of the 2 is Jesse Franklin, due up next. We'll see how much longer he can keep himself on the field here in Omaha, the best place to end your college career.
1-0 pitch to Thomas. Fastball called, strike 1. Thomas lined out softly in his first at-bat against Eater in the 7th. Has a chance to go out on a higher note.
4 years and 6 more games in Omaha later. Here we find Akeo Thomas, as someone called time.
It's the catcher back there, Clark. He wants to go out and have a quick chat with his sophomore pitcher. He mentioned Clark a sophomore as well, but an older sophomore. He'll be gone next season. Out of a Vanderbilt uniform, certainly has the defensive chops and can swing it as well.
He has been nothing short of phenomenal as a catcher here today and all series long.
3 hits, RBI, walk for him, run scored. Great day and a great day behind the plate. We're ready for 1-1 pitch to Thomas. Bertram's going on the pitch. It's an off-speed, misses high and away.
No
It's
chance.
2-1.
Yep, no chance of him getting caught. Vandy not really guarding that tightly. Really doesn't want to go out getting tagged and ending Thomas's career.
In that one, I believe was a purpose pitch. They wanted to get Bertram out of the sight line of the sophomore. So now Bertram's at second. He doesn't have to bother looking at him. As a 2-1 pitch to Thomas. Popped up foul behind the plate. This one is going out of play. 2-2 now the count on the senior.
Clark did give it chase, but ultimately that went 7 or so rows up. So Akeo Thomas down to his last strike. Does have a runner in scoring position. Michigan has struggled mightily in this series. Even in the game they won, could have really busted that one open. As Vanderbilt, showing that resilience, got down 1-0 against Duke in a game where they surrendered even more hits. Still came back, though.
Vandy, one of the best teams in the country all season long. Michigan, the young upstart. Vandy looking to end the Cinderella story. 2-2 pitch. Going back is DeMarco. He's got room. He makes the grab, and Van 19 College World Series. The fireworks go off here. The Commodores rush the field just beyond the mound. They dogpile, as is tradition here in Omaha. And for the Michigan Wolverines, nothing to hang their heads about. They got all the way to the final game of the season, the College World Series final, and just come up a bit short. The final score, Vanderbilt 8, Michigan 2, here to end the 2019 NCAA season.
Nope, it's going to take a while to get over this one. When you're up 1-0 in the series, you really do begin to have those dreams of how you can finish it. Michigan, 2 chances to finish it off and become national champions. Can't quite do it, though. They were truly, though, maybe not one of the most consistent teams all year round, but one of the most talented and played some of the best baseball, the second best baseball you could find in the NCAA tournament. Went into Los Angeles. They were no fluke whatsoever. Stole 2 of 3. from UCLA really could have gotten out in 2 games and swept the Bruins. Just tore through the first of 2 brackets here in Omaha. Looked as good as anyone beside Vandy until the last 2 games here. Really dominated them in the first game. Big things ahead of them, but a great season to celebrate. In a couple of weeks here, they're going to look back and be placed 4 wins in Omaha. Ultimately, phenomenal season. And they not only elevated their program to new heights, but continued their conference's recent march upward in recent years. We'll see what the 2020s hold for the Big Ten and Michigan baseball. I expect new heights.
As the smoke comes and hits us with the wind blowing in today, Michigan, plenty of hugs outside the first base dugout right now. Again, a great season for the Wolverines. Final line score in this final game. Michigan 2 runs on 6 hits, no errors. Vanderbilt 8 runs on 9 hits, no errors as well. Carl Kaufman takes the loss. He drops to 12-7. Mason Hickman gets the win, 9-0 for him. And Jake Eder gets his 4th save of the season. Vanderbilt is your 2018 NCAA men's baseball champions. Michigan finishes as the runner-up. They were oh so close, just 1 win away, but ultimately could not finish it off. For a program that has made their name and announced their presence on a national scale, we've mentioned it a couple times already. Bright things moving forward. I'd anticipate another trip to Omaha in the near future with head coach Eric Bakich at the helm, pitching coach Chris Fetter. Nothing but good things ahead for this Michigan team. So, no sad days in the next couple of days. I'm sure it will be for the seniors that are departing. They're getting plenty of hugs outside the dugout there. Guys like Akeo Thomas, Jimmy Kerr, Blake Nelson, Miles Lewis. But ultimately, those guys did something that hasn't been done since 1984. They made it to Omaha. They're the senior class that did it. They can hold their heads high and go out on a high note. Mike Martin said after his final game, he got to end his career in Omaha. Not many people get to do that. There are several Wolverines that get to say they did that here at the College World Series.
And ultimately, they show up the last 5 Michigan teams to make it to Omaha and reach it to the championship series, breaking many, many long droughts for both the program themselves and the Big Ten as a whole, the Northern region as a whole. Really doing Great Lakes baseball proud. The 3 aces, all Michiganders themselves, the Jordans, Michiganders, a lot of homegrown and nationwide talent on Team 153, one that will not ever be forgotten. The throwbacks were a big part of this season, as Eric Bakich explained, wanting to honor the 152 before them. And 153 will be remembered for a very, very long time in T-shirts for their next bid to Omaha. You'll see that year 2019 on there. Joe Donovan wearing the headband 153 all season long as Michigan gets a better send-off than even head coach Mike Martin. In 40 years, he never quite captured a national championship. 17 trips to Omaha. Michigan outlasts him and really has a great season to go away with. Gives you a great parting gift. Couldn't quite get the big one. Been a little bit of a story for Michigan athletics in the 21st century, but they really did something. They unbelievably smashed any expectations 3 years ago. I'm not sure what expectations you had for your time with the Michigan baseball team, but I like to think they gave you a lot of great parting moments.
Yeah, as someone that's covered this team for 3 years, and really my final broadcast, not a more fitting way to go out than with this Michigan baseball team. And like you said, didn't really expect too much 3 years ago coming in. You know, you had the Northern baseball stigma of not really being able to have long postseasons and make it to Omaha, but this Wolverine team did it. They were able to send out seniors on top. Had a blast watching them throughout this tournament, and especially here in Omaha in person, getting to call the games. And yeah, I couldn't wish for a better send-off aside from the one scenario that would be obviously just a little bit better. Ultimately, can't do it much better than they did. I said it a couple times, say it again, nothing to hang their heads about. This team will be back, and we'll be back at WCBN Sports in the fall covering Michigan athletics, and certainly next spring covering Team 154 that'll have aspirations similar to this team, and this team proved they can meet those goals. Dana Thompson, any parting thoughts before we sign off for the last time this year?
I believe this is the first time ever WCBN has got to close their calendar year with a trip to Omaha. I mean, the station did not exist the last time Michigan made it to the championship series. And as you said it, Team 154, that kind of gave me chills. It's been a lot of talk about what this Michigan Team 153 did for the future of Big Ten baseball and the program. And now we're going to see what rewards they can reap. Many dynasties are built not with a championship right away. Many have to pave their way for a while before reaping the highest of rewards. Michigan, though, every player involved with this team, every coach, every fan is going to feel pretty great about this season in a week or two.
I think that's going to do it here for us at WCBN Sports. From me personally, thank you for tuning in to this broadcast, to this run, to this season, to the last 3 seasons. I've enjoyed it beyond what I can put into words, calling sports here for WCBN Sports, and especially this Michigan baseball team. I look forward to the broadcast next year. I'll certainly be a listener to just about every single one. I know, Daniel, you and the gang will do WCBN proud and follow this team to hopefully a finish 1 spot higher next season. For the last time here in Omaha, signing off. Michigan comes up just a bit short, 8-2. But we leave you as we always do. Good night, everybody. And as always, go blue.